what it do? What's up? What's going on? Everybody had a good weekend?
Nice.
Wait, it's Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. Yeah, well, it's a nice...
You did not have a good weekend?
No, it was a great weekend. Weather turned out nice, you know.
Yeah.
Did some construction.
What?
Yeah.
Are you opening a beer?
That's what is this not Memorial Day Part 2?
That's what this show is.
Yeah. No, this would be a bubbly, sparkling water in coconut pineapple, which I find delightful.
You know, I was golfing on, when was I golfing?
Again, everything now blends together because of the holiday weekend.
Well, last time I was playing with a couple bros who happened to be listeners, and one of them, that sound happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were riding in a cart and I was walking.
Yeah.
And that sound happened, and I thought, oh, I love that.
It's a great sound.
But back in the day, that used to mean one thing and one thing only.
Yes.
And that is probably some crappy light beer.
One would think.
But now it could be anything. It could be a seltzer. It could be a sparkling water. It could be.
Well, I've unfortunately, and it's sad because I haven't given up beer because that's delightful. But I try not to drink soda, and I find regular water to be very, very boring. And so a number of years ago, I just became the old man, and I drink sparkling water, like the flavored stuff. And I don't know, it doesn't really taste good, but it's better than regular water. And I'm not drinking like Diet Coke, which is just horrific for you. And, you know, regular soda is out. You can't be drinking those calories unless I'm getting drunk. So it's one of those things I drink a lot of, and I don't really like it. I just don't know what else to drink.
I freaking love it. I used to be
sparkling water?
Completely anti, and when it felt like the only thing you could get was either lime or lemon Crystal Geyser, maybe. I don't know if it's LaCroix that changed the game or what it was, but for whatever reason, the canned flavored sparkling waters became my jam, and that's like all I drink.
Yeah, back when we were youngs, wasn't that easy to see a hole in the market?
Yeah.
Right there?
Yeah.
You know? Because they used to tell us, believe this, kids, Will Ortner, if you're listening, this you'll be shocked. Mm-hmm. They used to tell us to drink milk.
Yeah, that was the one.
Like, just drink milk.
Have strong bones.
A lot of milk.
And that's it.
Yeah,
milk.
That's it. Milk.
Or water. Or Coke.
Yeah, those are your three choices.
Have a Coke and a smile.
Yeah. Well, that was back when like people, like, nutritional information, it's come light years. When we were kids... Like, no one realized, like, the food chart, you know, it was like...
build on the breads and grains.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the breads,
Woo!
all the grains, and by the way, just load it with as much sugar as humanly possible. Don't eat fat, but, like, you know, here, you don't want to... Everything had to be low fat, but you could have as much sugar as you want. Here's a 12-pack of Coke.
Or
and
even,
some
like,
SpaghettiOs.
in addition to the milk, like, go have a big old glass of orange juice. Well, yeah. That tastes delicious, but that's just, like, 14 ounces of sugar going
Exactly. You drink, like, a big jug of orange juice. Or remember, like, Sunny Delight? That was viewed as healthy.
Sunny D.
Those commercials where, like, you come in after playing, it's like,
Sunny D.
Sunny D, hey! Give me 3 glasses.
Yeah, we were really stupid.
Yes.
And we were, you know what? We were lied to.
Yeah.
It's the big lobbies.
Yes.
That had control of everything back then. I mean, they could have pushed anything on us. We'd be like, all right,
well,
I guess.
they kind of did.
Well, yeah,
and
they
did,
yeah.
You know, all the sugary stuff. So now, like, in my old madness, like...
I'm with you on that. I can't drink a soda.
No.
And I love it, but I can't drink it.
Like, once in a while, like, we get the... I get the little small cans, you know, like the... I don't know. What are they? 8 ounces?
I think 8 ounces, yeah.
And, like, that's how old I am, is that's, like, a big indulgence. I'm like, gonna treat myself tonight. Gonna have 8 ounces of ice-cold Pepsi. All right, living the high life.
Well, that is a nice treat.
Yeah. And they get into the diet soda, and there's that, like, is that worse for you than regular soda? It's all bad.
But,
like, it melts nickels. And then we wonder why, like, we have all the health problems that we do. It's just the crap that we're ingesting on a day-to-day basis.
But Buck's right. I don't know if it was LaCroix. Like, I would like to see a timeline or maybe a documentary from the great Morgan Spurlock about this.
Well, that's going to be tough. Maybe
he just...
Yeah, maybe he's got, like, well, he was a massive alcoholic, too.
Yeah, he was.
So maybe he has a less alcoholic brother that can do one of those. Yeah, the rise of the seltzer water... And I used to think seltzer water was so gross.
Carbonated water.
I never understood how anyone drank it, and yet here I am just it is the number one beverage that I drink.
But you also mentioned you drink it because you don't really know what else to drink, which also highlights yet another hole in the market.
I know.
Like, because you're not an energy drink guy, a soda guy.
No.
So there is a room for it because I'd be with you on this. I don't drink those because
Yeah.
I just think they don't. I just rather drink water.
Yeah.
But there's a hole in the market for something that is enjoyable, that actually tastes good,
Yeah.
that isn't
Terrible for you.
terrible for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
For
know.
sure.
I don't know what that is.
Make
So
it up.
I've just settled
Get in the
on.
lab.
I've settled on this. I don't think it's possible because when you go to like a New Seasons market now, they have like an entire wall
I
of
know.
beverages, and
It's
you
hard
just,
to even.
yeah, you don't even
know.
you just sit there and stare at it, and I'm like, I have no idea, and I just assume that if it's good, this is where I'm at with beverages. If it tastes good, it's probably terrible for you. So you find something that doesn't taste horrid and you run with it. Hence these sparkling waters.
Am
You're
I,
like, whatever.
Am I 100 years old now? I learned this from my mom,
Yeah.
who is almost 100 years old. I just put a little, those little lemon or lime flavor bottles you get,
Yeah, little squeeze
squirt
things.
bottles.
Yeah.
I just get water and
Yeah.
I squeeze.
Does that work?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's better than just. It's better. First of all, it's better than that. I don't like the carbonated,
Yeah.
and so that but it's better than plain water, because
Yeah.
now it tastes a little bit like lemon
Yeah. Well, and
or lime
I'm waiting because there was a.
or Tabasco. Sometimes I put Tabasco in my water.
Do you really?
I've done it before.
Tabasco.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wait, you've done
Dash
it
it
before,
up.
or you do it regularly?
No, I don't do it regularly.
Oh my gosh.
What
Well-
is the purpose of this?
Well, it's really by accident. Well, it's not by accident, but the part of our fridge where I grabbed the lemon and the lime,
Yeah.
there was one time where there was no lemon and lime up there, and of course I'm not responsible
Yeah.
for this.
Happy accident?
Yeah, so I was like, oh well,
Huh.
I wonder what Tabasco would taste like in there.
I'll be damned.
So I put a couple of dashes of that.
And it's all right, or
Well, it's just you have to put too much in order to really taste it, and then it's just bad. So
the answer,
you don't want to do
The
it.
answer is no.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
All
But I
right.
tried it for you.
Yeah.
So you don't have to.
Well, I'm waiting for the day that this gives me cancer because like this is what I settled on, right? Was this all right, I'm drinking seltzer water. It's fine. This is what I'm gonna go with. And then I want to say it was like a year or two ago, some listener sent me some article and just thanks a lot, a-hole.
yeah, listener.
He sends me this thing about how like seltzered waters now, there's a potentially they have some sort of, I don't even remember what it was, some sort of agent in them, and that's going to cause cancer, and like LaCroix was like the worst of them, and so there was like a whole chart, and I still to this day don't know if any of that is true, but I'm just waiting for the day that someone tells me that the seltzer water I've been drinking for years because I'm trying to not just ingest a bunch of crap is probably killing me. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Because I'm enjoying it, and I'm like, it's not even
Well-
good, but I'm dealing with it, and then someone's gonna be like, yeah, you can't drink that.
Well, take solace in the fact that even if that's not killing you,
Yeah,
something else is.
probably. Well, and then you
So it
like,
doesn't matter.
well, and then there was that thing. I think what is it like 70% of our drinking water that in the country is supposedly tainted, and it's got forever chemicals in it. And see, even if you're just drinking water, it's still gonna kill you.
So the thing I read and then I looked up to kind of confirm, or the rumor at least, was that it can lead to tooth decay. The sparkling waters can like mess with your teeth.
I don't know. See,
Here we
that-
go with the teeth again.
we can't have
See, that's
any-
big dental.
We can't have anything nice. We just can't.
Big.
And I kind of just refuse to believe it. It's like bubbles in water. Like I'll be fine, right? That's how I'm going to approach it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Big dental.
I think big dental's pushing. Like, I think they're worried because a lot of people are onto their bit.
Yeah, people are off of soda and all the sugary stuff, and then that we're getting
Yeah.
less cavities
Like, I don't
and all
need
that.
you.
Someone's saying now they're selling vinegar-based sodas. Really?
Vinegar based.
We're moving to vinegar?
Vinegar is
what?
good for you.
Is it just like the next machination of like kombucha or something, where it's
Dude,
like
that's another one. Dude, the BTJ drinks kombucha. I think that's a dare. Like, I understand that I just said that I don't love the sparkling seltzer water, but I drink it because it's the lesser of the evils. But the kombucha thing, she buys these Dr. Brew, like they come in like the little stubbies, like you get the Coors in them. She buys these things and they're expensive, and they taste like flavored arse. It's the worst thing. I'm like, there's no possible way that you enjoy this. Like, you're only drinking it because there's some sort of illusion that that's like healthy for you. Like, oh, it's got probiotics.
Well, again, it's force fed by big kombucha.
yeah,
Like,
it's terrible.
we're just fooled by all of it.
Yes.
Do you guys
And-
want to hear the messaging we were getting in 1991 around beverages?
Yeah.
What do we got?
This is what Suk referenced earlier.
Hey, we got some soda. OJ, purple stuff, Sunny Delight.
Sunny Delight. Yeah.
What's in this?
Tastes like orange and tangerine.
Yeah, and lime.
Some healthy junk too.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
What are you doing?
Thirsty.
What?
Problem, guys?
Way to be Mrs. Jackson. Come on. Yes,
Sunny Delight, the good stuff kids go for.
Who wants some more?
The good stuff.
Who wants some more?
No one even knows what it is. What is Sunny
And
Delight?
they're
It's
basically
not,
hawking it as
it's
being
not
like
OJ.
healthier than OJ, which it's not. It's worse.
I don't even know what is in Sunny Delight. It's like neon colored, and they remember they would make it like in sports bottles. Dude, I would go out and play like a soccer game when I was a kid, and my like halftime drink was a little squirt bottle of Sunny Delight, like a little. I'm like, seriously, that's what we're drinking. It's
Sunny D, baby.
Sunny D, just something neon and glowing, and it's called the Boldly Original. I guess there's new flavors and everything, so
There's still a thing.
there's still a thing. Legendary flavors. They don't tell you what's in it because
Well, it does have the high fructose corn syrup in it.
well, absolutely.
You know, which that's the bad stuff, right?
Yes, I think
That's
that
in
is.
all the sodas.
I think that is one of the
we don't want
the
that.
worst possible things that you can be ingesting. Yes.
But if it's with freshly squeezed orange juice, then you know, it offsets.
Something random but relevant I noted over the weekend. You know how teams are having these jersey sponsors now, like the little patches, NBA teams, NHL teams. LaCroix is the Florida Panthers jersey sponsor.
Oh,
The sparkling
you
water.
know, I have seen that. So Sunny Delight is a beverage, and I was reading a book. It was called like Younger Next Year. And it was just talking about like stuff you should be eating, and it was this real common sense things like and he said the author had these very broad things, but he goes, it's simple. He said, don't eat anything from the middle of the grocery store. He said, just don't. When you go into a grocery store, you just cannot walk. You walk around the outside of it, never go to the middle. He said, anything in the middle is bad for you. His other one was, if there's a commercial for it, you don't want it. If they're advertising it, don't do it.
Boy, that's so true.
Right? And it's a really it's
So true.
Yeah, the guy's really smart, and it's a fun I would say read, but of course it's a fun listen. And he has these general rules, and his always thing is especially with drinks, but he says even with your food, he's like, if there's more than 4 ingredients on it, you don't want it. He's like, there is nothing you should be drinking that has more than 4 ingredients. So I just looked up Sunny D. Sunny D has 29 ingredients in it. There is 29 things that go into making whatever the hell that drink is. Yeah, that's probably a good indicator that you don't want it.
And the kid says,
LaCroix.
yeah, it's a healthy joint, right?
Hey,
Who wants more?
Who wants more? Yeah, fuel this
Thanks, Mrs.
fun.
B.
It's got 4 different colors like that. I don't know what that color is, but apparently it's a mixture of 2 yellow dyes and 2 red dyes. Yellow 5, yellow 6, red 33, and red 40. You
Well-
mix that together and you get whatever that neon glow is from Sunny D.
Well, you've just pointed out another problem with all of this is even when they're trying to tell you, because I know our feds have come a long way in trying to get companies to be honest about what's in their stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like they always say, read the label.
Yeah.
Well, half the time when you read a label, you still can't read it.
No.
It's like, what is that?
Right.
Like, so I looked up LaCroix.
Yeah.
So how many ingredients do you think LaCroix has?
I'm terrified because I drink LaCroix.
No, it only lists basically 2 things.
Okay, well that's good.
But what is this? What does this mean? It says carbonated water. It says ingredients only carbonated water. Okay, we know what that is.
yeah,
And then it says naturally essenced, non-GMO. What does that mean?
Flavored air?
Naturally essenced.
I don't know what
I have
that
a buddy who works in food science for Tillamook. I might be able to find this out.
Yeah, I don't know.
That sounds like an end around to other crap we put in there
Yeah,
that we don't have to tell you about because we're not required by law.
that's proprietary, Sean. That's all you need to know. Hey,
But no calories, no sugar.
yeah, right. So that's
I mean, we do know LaCroix is
right. That's again, it's the lesser.
Simple.
It's the lesser of the evils.
yeah. All right.
Yeah, same thing. I'm like this. You know what I'm just gonna start drinking is I looked up
Whiskey.
yeah, Tully's whiskey has 3 ingredients. See that fall? Like I'm good.
Healthy.
I'm good, right? I mean, what more do I need? You think work would let me? Can I just bring in a bottle of that?
Just don't tell them.
Yeah,
Show might be better.
put that in my LaCroix bottle, and away I go.
There is opening segment beverage talk for
There you
you
go.
guys out here today.
All because we cracked a cold one.
Whoa.
Previous show
Abbreviated-
had your key off. Sorry.
Stupid show. Abbreviated clap there for you, Jace.
Yeah. It's all right.
We're working through some kinks on a Tuesday. There we
I
go.
don't deserve any more than that.
Well, we had a great Memorial Day weekend. Nice weather.
Mhm.
It was wonderful around here. Now it's raining.
Now we're back to the rain.
By the way, I had my balls busted by you two for
Yeah.
going to the coast on the busiest
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah.
90 minutes both ways, no traffic whatsoever. Just wanted to put that out there.
You didn't run into anything, huh?
No
Nothing.
traffic whatsoever.
No stoppages. We straight shot Beaverton to Manzanita, no issue, no slowdown, no stop.
Boy, I find that very hard to believe.
That's
but
a little misleading.
It's
I
not.
mean,
you
It
well.
still could be busy and traffic is flowing.
Part of it is that you're on 53 if you're going from Beaverton, and so it's like it's less traffic than 26.
You
But
backdoored it.
no, we didn't because it was the most direct shot to Manzanita. So I'm telling you, coast and
still a
back,
back
hour
door,
and a
though.
half.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll let
Was
this
not
one slide.
ill-advised.
I don't know. Look, if you're saying you got there easily,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But if you're saying that it wasn't busy, at
There
the
was
coast,
some holiday weekend fear mongering going on this program
I
here.
refuse to believe that was a quiet little weekend at the beach on Memorial
The
Day.
beach was somewhat busy. It wasn't
See?
packed. It wasn't off-putting. It wasn't any crazier than a normal busy nice weekend.
was it nice out there?
It was wonderful. It was a little overcast initially. Sun broke through on Sunday, and it was perfect.
Someone saying Bend and Wilsonville took 5.5 hours yesterday.
Yeah, I was gonna say Bend. I bet was
Yikes!
real bad.
You can't get me to go anywhere on holiday weekends. I'm out.
Confirmation with the text line: 0 traffic there and back for me too.
Although, I'll be damned.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, Buck won
Yeah.
this show. Nothing.
0 fear mongering. I'm going to
That's
continue.
right.
I'm going to continue to monger in fear
Go to the coast.
because I think holiday weekends traveling, no, I'd rather drink Sunny D than do that. It's not happening.
Let's get started with our program. We will begin by remembering the Big Redhead next on the Fan.
7 and 14 are good.
Get the broadcast rolling today. The Mets are about to blow another one,
Yeah, that's about right.
which is hilarious. They were just up 2-0, and now the Dodgers put up 1 in the 8th, and they have runners on the corners, nobody on the 9th. You know, Edwin Diaz is no longer the closer of the Mets.
No,
He's not any good anymore.
No, he's terrible. So he started off the year kind of, and then it got bad, and then they moved him out of the role, and then they moved him back into it,
And then they moved him out again.
and then they moved him out again. So
Yeah, he can't close a game.
it's
And
not good.
they kind of have a pretty good bullpen, but they can't
No.
seem to shut the door.
No.
Here,
Well,
so.
and they're terrible.
But it doesn't even
No,
matter.
They're
They're not even as good as the Nationals,
they're all kinds of bad.
right?
They're bad.
I think the Nationals have a better
Do
record.
they have a better record?
I may be
I
wrong.
think the Mets are like 10 games below 500.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah, your team sucks.
it's putrid.
Would you like to be a Royals fan?
We're no Kansas City Royals. Well, you know,
You are not.
I do support the Royals. I do have a Royals hat that I wear from time to time. 34 and 21, you're Kansas City Royals.
Yeah.
Mine,
Third best run differential. Third best run differential in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, the problem is that the
Behind the
freaking
Phillies.
Guardians are killing it too. Cleveland
Yeah.
and Kansas City.
Yeah, Cleveland's good.
The Mets, by the way, 22 and 30.
Yeah, do the Nationals have a better record?
Yes.
Yeah. Oof,
Yeah. The
that's gotta
Nationals are
hurt.
24 and 28. Hey,
And
we're better
they-
than the Marlins.
Don't the Royals have a better run differential than the Guardians?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so it's the-
78 and 71. So it's
the
close.
Phillies, the best, or maybe it's the Yankees. One of the two has the best, then the other, and then the Royals. Top
Mhm.
3 teams.
Yeah, the Yankees have the Yankees, who, by the way, people didn't think was going to be good this year. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, they got a plus 92.
Yeah, then it's the Phillies.
Kansas City plus 78, and the Phils, who are just kicking the hell out of everyone, they're plus 89.
Yeah.
And we got now with the Bravos, who are they're all right, but Acuna Jr. now done for the year, tore his other ACL.
What a bummer for that guy.
Yeah.
Brutal. Well, it's 2-2. Sorry about your luck, but you probably don't even care.
At this point, honestly, it's
They
just
suck.
whatever.
Where was I?
We
What
were
were we
talking
ta-
about Big Red.
Oh.
Big Red.
Big Red.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Big Red, but a quick follow-up. A lot of people backing Ryan Buckley's
Yeah.
notion that the coast traffic was not bad this
Yeah.
weekend.
Jeff Rust came in and said
Rusty,
Manzanita was great. We had
yeah.
someone saying that they were coming back from Pacific City.
All right.
Easy peasy.
All right.
Look, consider me shocked,
You're-
but
It's been corroborated.
yeah, Buck, we apologize.
Well, I don't.
No apology necessary.
I don't
Yeah,
apologize, but
Rob does it.
in this instance, you were correct. Although I still think it was busy out there.
Yeah, which you
Busy, sure, but that's busy's different than crowded or like not tolerable.
I know,
was
but it also
fine.
depends on what time you
Oh, for sure.
go.
Yeah.
You know. Well, at any rate,
the Mets suck.
it's time for our poll question.
Yeah.
AAA Heating and Cooling, family business helping families for over 60 years. AAAIAQ.com. We had 2 on Friday. One of them was, which family would you feel most comfortable marrying into for the money?
Saudis won, didn't they?
The Saudis won. Saudi prince, 43%. The Trump family, 32%.
Hey.
The Sackler family, 24%. By the way, I asked this question to my wife. She chose the Sacklers.
Yeah, and that was yours, right?
Kind of,
Didn't you
because
It was
Sackler?
initially.
because I just don't think you're going to die. You're
Yeah.
going to be in shame,
Yeah.
but you're not going to potentially die.
And you got plenty of money, and
Yeah, you just go live your,
Yeah.
change your name,
Yeah.
maybe go live on a,
well, and it's
Buy a
not like
mountain in West
everyone
Virginia.
knows that name. I
Right.
mean, you could probably
That's
get
right.
by just fine.
that's right. And then 1% said Putin.
No one wants the Russian
No.
oligarchs.
Oh, God, no.
No one.
Joey Harrington will not appear on Primetime today because he is wine tasting. Which hotshot is he with? Of course, we revealed on Friday, if you were listening, who he was with. 42% guessed Drew Bledsoe. 32% guessed Dan Lanning. 20% Tinker Hatfield, and 6% Jared Goff. He was indeed with
Dan Lanning,
the great Dan Lanning.
who apparently got an ace.
What?
Lanning,
I saw this. I was maybe going to make it part of the Ducks
And I
report.
believe, was it Rich Brooks
And
too?
Rich Brooks.
Yeah, Rich. They were at they were drinking, and there was some sort of golf thing involved.
Something called the Coaches Classic.
Yeah.
Rich Brooks tweeted about it, said that Dan Lanning had an ace at the Hay, and that the next day Rich Brooks had an ace at Spanish Bay.
Yeah. So
Wow.
2 Oregon coaches getting an ace. Where's Mike Bellotti?
And apparently, Dan Lanning also knocked it out of the park with his rendition of Rick Springfield's Jesse's
Yeah,
Girl.
He was doing karaoke Jesse's Girl.
You're kidding.
No.
Nope.
No, it's floating around out there. Bug, can you Is the audio good enough to?
Yeah.
I didn't see video. I only saw photos of it. Is there video of
Yeah, I
it?
think there's video.
Oh, I'll look for it.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to hear that.
Yeah, he was doing Jesse's Girl, and apparently to rave
At this
review-
event?
I believe
raising
so,
money?
yes. Yeah, raising money.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
Looked like Neuheisel was out there on stage with him too, maybe.
A relatable man, that Dan Lanning.
yes.
And hole in one. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get all the info next time he comes on. But Harrington was with Dan Lanning. Today's poll question is up there for you on X at 1080 The Fan. Who do you consider to be the biggest sports personality of the last 30 years? Bill Walton, Mike Leach, Charles Barkley, or Peyton Manning?
See, it's funny because Manning.
Vote and vote hard.
Manning's he's a different kind. He's got kind of a dry sense of humor. He's pretty buttoned up.
Well, if you were to say Walton, Leach, and Barkley, like who would be your fourth? I struggled with the fourth.
Yeah, to come up with a fourth that's.
But I thought Peyton, he
is a big personality.
He's very
It's just
authentic.
different.
He's himself.
Yeah.
He's funny.
Yeah.
He's more polished than the other guys.
Sure.
But yeah.
I'd probably say Barkley. I think Barkley was. Walton. There was no one like Bill, and there never will be again. Bill's one of one. But I think Barkley with inside the NBA, I just think it was a bigger reach. I think Walton was a bigger personality, but Barkley's reach was so much bigger because if you weren't really tied into college athletics, Bill could slide underneath your radar. Doing Pac-12 basketball games, and he battled obviously the pain, and so he wasn't as public out for a lot of those later years until he got his spine fused. So I'm going Barkley 1, but that's a caveat because Bill was the biggest personality. Barkley's reach was just bigger.
I'm going to vote for Walton.
Yeah.
I think
because there'll be another Barkley. There's plenty of people that are like Chuck. There'll never be another Bill.
I don't even think it's close.
No.
Bill Walton passing away this weekend, 71. Apparently he had cancer.
Yeah. I guess he fought it privately. I guess those close to him obviously knew about it, but he did his last basketball game. It was Oregon and Washington State.
And we actually have the audio of that, his last send-off on that one.
You want to hear it?
Yeah, this is Bill's last public game.
As we're rolling along the rivers here and we're bouncing from star to star, from the Berkeley Hills to the Willamette Valley and Skinner Butte, from Strawberry Creek to the Willamette River. It's all happening right now. And with Arizona at the top playing at Colorado at the end of the day today, the winner of this game could very well be tied for first place in the all-important battle for the best seeding. As we tip this game off today, there are so many storylines, Ted, that can just tantalize the mind and the soul, imagination and curiosity. It's all right here.
Did the Pac-12, was that basketball tournament?
That was basketball, yeah.
Did any Pac-12 tournament games ever tantalize your soul? Because they didn't mind.
Not the way, and that was the beauty part about Bill is, he took a sport that for a lot of people was, just kind of ho-hum, and the passion that he had for it, there's just, Dickie V's like this, he just loves the sport. But I found Bill to be so authentic. He was Mr. Pac-12 or Pac-10. And maybe it's fitting that a day after the Pac-12 ceased to exist that Bill gracefully bowed out. He's fighting colon cancer, by the way, as people have asked, like what kind of cancer. It was colon. He fought it privately, didn't want to make a thing of it. And I guess his past surrounded by, family. And he just, I don't have the words. He was as good a human being as you'll ever find in this sport.
I don't think, no offense to you.
Yeah.
But I'm in the same boat. I don't think we can come on here and adequately sort of eulogize the great Bill Walton.
No.
We had him on several times.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the only thing I can say about him that maybe is slightly different besides all the other stuff that everyone's saying, because everyone's saying the same thing because he was the same to everyone.
Yeah.
He was a great human and he made a ton of people smile. I think the coolest thing about him was, as just a young Sparky in this business, that you get into sports and you realize who the a-holes are and who the genuine articles are, Mm-hmm. You rarely, especially on the media side, you rarely get treated all that well.
Yeah.
But there are a handful of people in sports, high-profile people in sports that come along that treat everyone with great respect and remember your name and make you feel good and talk to you and give you the time of day as if you're someone important like them. And Bill Walton was one of those people.
Yeah.
There are very few. I know Charles Barkley is we mentioned him in the poll question, but he's still like this. Like apparently you run into Charles Barkley out and about and he'll treat you just like you're you guys are best friends. Jerome Kersey was this way.
Absolutely.
It was always very cool to see a Blazer who didn't have to give that many people the time of the day.
And he did.
He gave everyone the time of day and was super nice. It's just guys like that. There aren't that many of them in our business.
Nope.
And Bill Walton was certainly one. And he's a wordsmith and doing bits. I loved his bits. Just, yeah.
He was, like I said, he was
Great man.
one of one. And, it's funny that we talk so much about Bill and obviously the character he was and the personality. And he was a really educated man, too. And he loved reading and he loved books. And he was such an inquisitive person. Then in an era full of a lot of, I'm not trying to take, just sometimes athletes can be very one-dimensional, right? And Bill was a man that loved learning about things. And I always appreciated that about him. And we talk about all that. And yet at the same time, like Bill Walton was one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Bill Walton is arguably, and really there's not much argument to it, he's the second greatest college basketball player of all time behind Kareem. I think it's him and Kareem, 1 and 2. He was an NBA champion. The only reason this city has an NBA championship is because of Bill Walton. The next year, by the way, was an even better year. He won the MVP, and then his foot split on him. But before, and then even after all that, with all those problems, still managed to come back, win a title in Boston, 6th man of the year. We don't talk about how good Bill Walton was. Like before the injuries, and even again to some extent afterwards, Bill was truly an amazing player, one of the best to ever do it. And without injuries, we may be talking about Bill in really, really rarefied air. And I love that he never, whenever you listen to Bill Walton talk, it was never about Bill Walton. He'd always talk about, Coach Wooden and what Wooden meant to him and how Wooden got this out of him and Jack Ramsey and he was, or his teammates. And he just, Bill Walton was truly great. And I'm not certain how many people remember that about him because he just was such a great personality and such a kind, giving man. I had the privilege to meet Bill a couple times at different things, but the one that I'll always remember is going back to he loved to read. He loved books. When I lived in La Center, he had like a cousin or something that it was the La Center librarian. And we opened this little brand new library in La Center. Just think about that. That town's like 7,000 people at the time. This little tiny library, and she asked Bill to come up and kind of cut the ribbon on it. And this was back when Bill was dealing with the back stuff, and Bill later revealed that he was suicidal. He thought about ending his life. He was in so much pain. And so we went to this little library thing, and Bill was there, and it wasn't like there was a bunch of people. Again, it's just middle of nowhere town. And he came, and you could tell he was in excruciating pain. And he stood up and took every single photo. Anyone that wanted to shake his hand and talk to him, and I could just tell how much in pain he was, and he had a smile on his face the entire time. And everyone that came to that thing got an autograph, got a photo, and Bill ended up talking to me for probably 15 minutes because I had mentioned, hey, Bill, like you've come on our show before, and he had no idea who I was, but he played along. Oh, yes, I remember your show. And we ended up talking about books for like 15 plus minutes, and then he got pulled away for someone else. And in all my years of doing this, I've never seen someone who was better in public when he didn't have to be. And when you're dealing with that kind of crippling pain and you still put on a show for everyone that was at that event left feeling like they knew and were friends with Bill Walton. And the world is a worse place today with Bill gone.
All right. Text the Vancouver Ford text line 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. VancouverFord.com. More on the Big Red Head. And I guess we'll look at the NBA Finals.
Sure, why not?
I mean, it's not set.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Kind of is.
Yeah.
It's over!
Yeah.
We think!
Here's Buck. Bill Walton was 71.
Yeah, too young.
Bows out with the Pac-12.
Yeah, a day after the Pac-12 officially ended and shut its doors, Bill bowed out himself, and it's kind of fitting because I don't know if Bill is the Pac-10. Like if there was a representative for that crappy conference and all the missteps, one of the real bright.
He loved it.
Hey, Conference of Champions.
Conference of Champions, that's right.
Yeah.
Bill was such a natural and made things look effortless. I could listen to him talk about paint drying and somehow learn something about John Wooden.
Remember when he
That from Deal.
Remember when he came on and was talking to us about teepees?
Oh yeah.
Like
you couldn't contain him. Like
No.
if you had him on, get ready for a 25-minute interview.
Yeah,
and that was quite all right because you knew it would be entertaining.
Yeah,
You just didn't know what the subject would be.
There was one time we had him on, and this was the TP rant, because I guess the people that made his TP are local here, and I don't even know if we asked him a question. I think we came on, we introduced him, and then I think Bill just went for like 13 minutes, and you may, after 13 minutes, may have gotten one in where like you were trying to say goodbye to him, and then he went for like another 12 minutes. So technically, I don't even know if a question was asked during that interview, and it went on for 20 plus minutes.
I only had one experience with him like that professionally, and it was he was throwing out the first pitch for Grateful Dead night at the San Francisco Giants game, which was perfectly fitting for him. And we had him on our pregame talk show that was an hour long. We had him booked for a segment, and it was supposed to go 7 minutes.
You fools.
Well, and we knew the host Greg Papa had interviewed him many times before, knew him well. But Greg said, "Hey Bill, how have you been?" And Bill's answer was roughly 7 minutes long, and he wrapped it up with, "And how are you, Greg?" And Greg goes, "And we're going to break. Thanks for stopping by, Bill."
Classic Bill. And that was not a bit.
No.
Although I generally think he knew what he was doing. I think it was fun for him to just say what he wanted and see if anybody would challenge him or stop him.
And he admitted that when he started a lot of those, like he would say that I don't really know where I'm going.
I just want to talk.
He just wanted to talk, and he was passionate about so many things. And just the way his brain works is like he'd be talking about something, and like he'll be talking about Portland, and then Portland be like, "Hey, I rode my bike through there. Oh, and hey, there was a guy that made teepees there," and it's just, and then from volcano, and like it just, I think when he those squirrel moments when something popped into his head, he had the inability to not talk about it. It's just when something popped into his head, he had to explore that.
You just go with it.
And the way he did it was, again, it seemed like bits, but like that's the way he talked.
Well, and he was a wordsmith with it. He just would
Yeah.
make it sound so amazing and over the top.
Well, you think about how many
smart guy,
how many people go through life, and the impact that you make, and he's one of those guys that, and I know his life wasn't all razzleberry, frogurt, and scones. Again, he dealt with an extreme amount of pain in his feet, in his back, and he talked about that. But boy, man, take basketball aside, you want to talk about someone that left the world a better place? Like, I'm jealous of that. That he was such a loving, caring human being. And think about like the whole counterculture thing at that time, because he was a 6'11", long-haired, headband wearing, LSD taking, bong ripping, hippie on a bike, and yet he didn't get any of that crap that comes along with that. He transcended all of those. He was such a good person that everyone could kind of wrap their arms around him, whether you believed in what he believed in or not. Someone even said on the Vancouver 4 text line, they said their favorite part about Bill was, they said, I pretty much disagreed with everything that Bill believed as far as how to live your life, and yet I still felt like he was my friend and I'd want to sit down and have a beer with him. And that in a day and age where, God, we're so polarized and everyone has their buttholes clenched all the time, and we're just looking for reasons to be pissed and looking for reasons to disagree with someone, be more like Bill Walton. Dude, just put a smile on your face and love the person next to you. The world was a better place because of that. And we would all be better people if we were more like Bill. Well, maybe less LSD, though, because that kind of freaks me out.
The beauty of Bill is that it's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, is we can all say that. We all kind of know that, don't we?
Yeah.
That's not easy to do.
No,
that's why he's so great.
Yeah.
And
it was genuine.
It totally was genuine. He did it from day one. Like, here's a text on the Vancouver 4 text line that says, my great grandmother and dad were at Bill Walton's house in 73, 74, 75 for anti-Vietnam war rallies.
Yeah.
This was in Portland. And my dad told me he was the greatest dude he ever met. So full of life and enthusiasm from the beginning, his life was more than his accomplishments, but what he could do to better humanity.
Yeah.
And that's right. I mean, he was on that from day one.
Yeah. And it's funny because
he was a natural leader.
yes.
A natural leader. And that's not, I mean, I think he's just born with it, but that's not easy to do either.
He also feels like a unifier to me, like a guy that can bring others together, like not just like leading by example, like do things my way, but like, hey, my presence can help connect you to you and make everyone a little bit more whole.
Well, when you said that it was natural and we all know how to do that and it's still hard, that really resonated with me because I struggle with that. Like I want to be more like that, but I don't know how. It's just not me.
Not that easy.
Right? It is. That is one of the that's just one of the hardest things. You know that you're better off that way and it's hard not to come off as cheesy. Like I think about like Russell Wilson or like Tim Tebow, who I think by all accounts are pretty good dudes, but it comes off very cheesy and preachy and kind of fake, and that's not the deal with Bill. And when things come along, I don't know why I thought of this, but like remember when Ted Lasso was a big deal? Like again, it's like that. It's like a golden retriever. There's just things that make you feel good, and you don't really know why. They're just wholesome, and they put you in a better mood, and it hits a nerve, and it's that nerve where we all want to be better. We all want to be nicer. We want to have more elements like that. And Bill was that. He was a human version of that. But that really resonated with me when you said, we all know it. It's just really hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's why he's great.
It's why he's great.
And it was
effortless for him.
Well, and he was really smart and interesting and inquisitive. And like you said, he was authentic. He didn't preach.
No.
You know, and that's where you lose a lot of people.
Yep.
Is when you start preaching at them.
Yeah. And you get
like you know better. He never was that. He just was like, here's what here's how I feel, and he would just describe it in some like acid trip way that it's like, wow, how can I not love this?
Yeah.
Even though some people, I mean, he probably wasn't their cup of tea calling games because he was just so wild.
He was controversial in that. There were a lot of people. I mean, today obviously is a day to remember the greatness, but there were plenty of people from a broadcast standpoint that did not like him. They were not. That was not their.
Yeah,
it was a different flavor. It was a seriously different flavor. So if you're going for the highbrow basketball analysis towards the end of his career, you're just not going to get that. You have to know that going in. And I understand if you don't like it, but that was authentically who he was and the part of him that made him great. But there are a lot of people that felt that way, and that's fair. But I think those people also respected Bill just for who he was because he marched to his own beat.
And I just say be more like Bill, and you don't have to take LSD, and although maybe whatever your thing is, but just again have a thirst for knowledge and be inquisitive and ask people about themselves and learn.
But don't be Aaron Rodgers.
Yo God, and you know what? That's another great. You're on a roll today, because
thank you.
I thought those are two very very.
Rodgers is like that.
He is, but this is where you were saying.
He's preachy.
He's preachy, and he comes across like a prick.
Like he knows it all.
Yes, and he comes across as unlikable. And Buck, you said it, that Bill was a unifier, and I feel like Aaron for a lot of he's a divider.
Yep.
And that's a really that you're right. Both are searchers, both are inquisitive, both read a lot, and yet one feels like he brings people together with it, and the other one just feels like he's a judgmental.
And he knows more than the next guy all of a sudden. Yeah.
It's almost as if humans are complicated. But that man.
It felt like he had it figured out, though.
He was great.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even think I think he would tell you he didn't have anything figured out, and that was the beauty of him.
Yeah. And maybe that's the figuring it out part, is realizing that you don't know and you're constantly learning and evolving. And
well, I think that's part of leadership, which is why he was such a great leader.
Yeah.
Is they know they don't have it all figured out, but they have a brain that in a way that makes you want to follow him.
Yeah.
And he had that. So rest in peace, the great Bill Walton.
I love volcanoes.
By the way, I was looking back. So he won the NBA Finals MVP in '77, and of course the title here. Can you name the starting five on that team?
We have Bill Walton. You had Bobby Gross.
Yeah.
You had Lionel Hollins.
Yeah.
You had Mo Lucas.
Yeah.
Who am I missing?
The fifth one is the hard one.
Who am I missing?
And I did not. I had no idea.
Who am I missing?
Not a big name. Here, anyway.
I don't. I'm missing it.
Well, now I have to look it up. I think it's Johnny Davis.
Oh,
Am I right about that?
That sounds right.
I think that's who it was. Hold on.
I think you're right.
Stand by.
Lasers starting lineup.
Have you ever been to a volcano?
Yes, I have.
Johnny
Bill.
Davis.
Johnny Davis
From Dayton.
Well, there you go.
He was the starting guard on that team.
Yeah, that was the one where again you're going through and you're like,
Yeah, the other four famously, but Johnny Davis. Why does no one ever remember Johnny Davis?
Poor Johnny Davis.
Poor Johnny Davis.
8 points, 1 rebound, 9 assists.
Yeah, he was a guard, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was one of the guards. Shoot, I remember more backups on that team than I did Johnny Davis.
Yeah, some of their backups are more famous, at least around here. All right, we continue on. NBA Finals talk coming up. It is 3:54 on The Fan.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
I'm Dirt. And then next year, if you were to get a top 3 pick,
audio of Dan Lanning singing Jesse's Girl.
I have not found it anywhere yet.
It may not exist. Suit claims it exists.
Yeah,
I don't
there
know
was
that it exists.
there was a clip going around on Twitter, and it was like a grainy cell phone video.
I've
and
searched
I thought
Landing
the audio
Jesse's
was gonna be
Girl.
too crappy to pull, but
What? Where were they? San Francisco.
No, so they're down at the Pebble Beach area because I
Yeah.
guess the Hay,
Yes.
where he shot his ace, is
Yes.
the par 3 facility that they've
Correct.
opened up down there, and then Spanish Bay also down there too.
is it
so.
possible that Dan Lanning got it scrubbed from the interwebs, a la Rick Pitino?
Ooh,
It's possible.
Well, look, if you're at an event there, and maybe someone that Dan knows or is affiliated with the program puts out a video of you, maybe having a couple pops, singing that. Maybe he doesn't like it and says, "Hey, hey."
Nah.
You think?
No, I don't, because I think he doesn't give a rip
Mm.
if there's a photo of him drunkenly singing Jesse, or a video of him drunkenly singing Jesse's Girl, because it's relatable.
I'm not certain he would want that.
We've all been there. But maybe not. I don't know. But
We're working on it. If
The
someone,
Hay-
if someone has the video or has seen it, send it our way.
so the Hay is the par 3 at Pebble, which is designed by Tiger Woods, just opened up not too long ago. And this raises the question, because I don't know if Dan Lanning has another hole-in-one, but somebody was talking about this to me over the weekend.
Mhm.
And this is the exact same scenario that I have had to go through with the hole-in-one.
Because it's
And that is, does a hole-in-one on a par 3 course
Yeah.
count as a real hole-in-one? And it's a great question.
yeah, because every shot is an opportunity to get a hole in one. It's par 3.
But it's, like my first hole-in-one technically was at Edgefield.
Yeah.
And it was like a 65-yard shot. And it was a terrible shot. I hit it off a tree and it ricocheted into, it was like, come on. But for the longest time, when as a real golfer,
you didn't have one.
I didn't have one, so I would count that. So in my head, so somebody asked me on this weekend, they said, does it count if your only hole-in-one is from a par 3? And I said, well, I think it only counts in the event you are on your deathbed and you have not gotten a real one.
You can still throw
I
that
think
out
you
there.
can count
I
that.
died knowing I got an ace.
I think you can. So it's kind of a placeholder.
it's still just one stroke, right? I mean, it's still just one golf stroke.
Yeah.
And I mean, but they're not all created equal. Obviously, there are more impressive hole-in-ones than
That's
others.
right.
And
That's
it's still, it might be the bottom of the barrel hole-in-one, but it's a hole-in-one.
That's fair.
It's a Thursday night girlfriend is what it is.
But I also don't think you count it once you have
You'd prefer not to.
a real course hole-in-one. It's like, and I also got one on at Edgefield, but hey, who
Yeah,
cares?
yeah.
Well, I've since had 4.
Well, I mean,
Ah.
so you don't even have to. You don't have to acknowledge the
I
Edgefield
don't
one.
acknowledge the Edgefield.
And here's the other one too. If you hit it off a tree, like
Yeah.
that,
It was bad.
that again ceases to.
Well, because then it's not a
Win the
good
hole.
golf shot.
It's not.
Hole-in-one
Well,
implies good golf shot.
Many
generally.
times they're not great golf shots.
Well, I know, but like if you hit one like that and you get some sort of weird crazy bounce and it like that's not a. I don't know.
The two best things about a hole-in-one, if you can get them, are, one, you really hit it well. Like when the ball is flying towards the hole, you're like,
Okay,
wow,
I got a chance.
go in. This is a great shot.
Yeah.
And two, actually seeing it go in the hole.
As opposed to walking up and being like, "Hey, I
Oh
can't
my
find
God,
the
it's in
ball."
there. Yeah, because when you see it go in, that's when you get the reaction. Everybody goes crazy, and it's really fun.
Yep.
So those two things, if you can get those two things on a hole-in-one,
Yeah.
that's ideal.
I was with someone once, and it really did. To your point, it really took away from it because we thought maybe it hit it over the green. We couldn't find it, and we're like, "Man, it looked like it was on. Looked like it was on track." And we're like, maybe it hit the flag. And we spent 3-4 minutes looking around and thinking, "Hey, did you fly the green?" And then someone, I mean, we didn't even consider it. Someone was like, "Have you looked in the hole?" And he went over and looked in it, and there it was. And it was cool, but I'm not going to lie. But
that's not as cool.
No,
Anticlimactic.
it very
sounds.
was. We were all like, "Oh my God, that went in the hole." And then, it was a very subdued celebration.
Yeah.
A friend of mine works at like as a club pro, and the course that he used to work at, he was playing by himself at the end of the day after the last people had gone off, and he got a hole-in-one on an elevated green. So he didn't see it. He walked up there, he looked around, he looked down, he's like, "No one saw it, including myself. I know it was a good shot. I know it's legit, but no one else will ever be able to confirm that."
Huh? Does he count it? Well, I guess
He's had others since. So like you, I think he doesn't worry about it.
it's not on the ledger.
Yeah, it's tough if you have no one else, right? Because then you're just like, sure, you got
It
one.
is tough.
Yeah.
But it was his first, so he was like, what do I do?
Hold
So
on to
Dan
it.
Lanning got a hole-in-one at a par 3 Pebble.
Yeah. But
It's a good story.
It's par 3. We'll talk to him about it.
We'll see if that's his first one.
Yeah, we'll see. Because I don't think he's a big golfer.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
He plays.
Yeah, but I don't think he's a stick. I think he's got other. Well, that's that people always say that if you're a head coach and you're a great golfer, it's like,
Probably not a great head coach.
yeah.
All right, let's get to the NBA Finals. I think we've got an NBA Finals matchup, but maybe not. That's next on The Fan. well, we've got
Conference
the
final.
Celtics. Yeah. We've got one of the two teams.
Yeah.
But then the other team's up 3-0, and it's like, I mean, they're not
They've been
going to
good
blow
games
that.
at least. I mean,
Yeah, they have.
some drama there, and Luka step back 3, and
Luka,
yeah,
my guy.
yeah, the face of the NBA, because that's what we have to do. Like, we're not allowed to just talk about the game. We have to be like, is Luka the new face of the NBA?
You've been listening to Stephen A. again?
Yeah, no, but the NBA coverage is just it's mind-numbingly stupid.
You know
the
what
way they cover that sport.
ESPN's rolling out Udonis Haslem now.
Yeah,
I can't handle it.
yeah,
I
too
just,
much.
Yeah, I just.
Well, not to
I'm out.
not to Bill Walton and squirrel this, but the WNBA is getting so much push right now, and I noticed something recently that, and it's really starting to annoy me. And I don't watch a ton of WNBA. I mean, look, no offense, I still don't think it's a great product. The college game I think is a better product for me than the WNBA, but we've checked out some games here and there. But I've noticed that all of their coverage is starting to become the NBA. None of it is about anything on the court. It's about, did Caitlin Clark's teammates disrespect her at the at the podium, and Angel Reese, getting knocked down, and it's going back to the same sort of Real Housewives crap that the NBA deals with in their coverage, and it's driving me crazy. It actually makes me not want to consume the women's game because they're covering it the same way they cover the NBA, and that does affect my viewership with the NBA. Outside of inside the NBA, I think I don't want to consume a lot of the NBA coverage because it's crap.
But okay, but inside the NBA is sort of like that too. I mean, they're not. I mean, nobody goes to them for the X's and O's.
But actually, they at least.
But they're not just poaching low hanging fruit.
Yes.
Like going like lowest
what?
common denominator. Not like this whole petty disrespect game. Like, I don't feel like they play that the same way. There's a little bit of that, but they have such a broader conversation than I think what maybe the ESPNs of the world are doing with WNBA.
I just can't handle the NBA coverage.
Well,
from
like
ESPN.
what? Give me an example.
So for example, like right now, like the Jason Tatum thing, like the Celtics are in the NBA Finals and they're cruising, and the number one thing they talk about with the Celtics is there's something wrong with Jason Tatum. Like, Jason Tatum, is he really a star? Like, that is the talking point for the Boston Celtics. Like, are you kidding me? We now have to have some sort of de-measuring contest between Tatum and Brown, and are the Celtics tainted because this road has been too easy for him? And then, it's like with with SGA, it's like, well, does he need to leave Oklahoma City in order to be a star? Ann Edwards, is he the face of the NBA? And they made that big push. And now, obviously, they're down 3-0. So now it turns into, Luka, is he the face of the NBA? Does the NBA have a problem because all the best players are European? It's like, it is a soap opera. It's like Jersey Shore. And I think it's embarrassing in the way the NBA gets coverage. And the Kendrick Perkinses of the world and the Stephen A. Smiths, I think they're a joke. And like when Tim Legler's on there, I think Tim Legler knows it's a joke. And I think it bothers him the way it's covered. But it is the most just like trashy National Enquirer sort of crap. And
Legler said as much. You pointed out Legler. He said recently on Ryan Russillo's podcast, that he was going into production meetings wanting to talk about the Pacers since February, and ESPN management told him that they're not a sexy enough topic. They need to lean into something else.
So I think, well, I obviously don't watch enough ESPN NBA coverage to really get, to be bothered by this. The only thing I really watch with the NBA besides the fourth quarter of games is inside the NBA. So I don't know that. I would imagine though there really isn't a huge appetite for X's and O's, sort of bore fest, right? Like they're basically taking the sports talk model and the podcast model to their pre and post game shows, if that's what you're talking about, or are you talking about all the other shows that?
I think they all do it. I think they cover it like it is a full-pledged drama. All they want is to find some sort of angle that they can pick at and not actually have to discuss what is or is not going on the court.
Do you think that's possible? It's possible that that's because there really isn't that much to dissect as opposed to like the NFL,
I suppose,
or college, or like football. There's a lot of meat on that bone.
Sure.
Because of the complexity of the game.
Yeah.
I'm not sure basketball has that.
I don't know, but I mean, I watch a lot of hockey, and I watch the hockey post game shows, and I mean, they don't do it there. I don't think they do it with Major League Baseball. I guess I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the culture of the NBA. I don't know if
it feels very social media headline grabby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the NBA has really benefited from social media, maybe more so than any other sport.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I think so.
Because I think guys like, well, I think Kevin Durant is the one who said it, and it was several years ago when he was under the gun for having a burner.
Mhm.
Remember that?
Yes.
There was an article written about him, and he said the one thing NBA guys are doing, and they totally get it, is they're stirring this crap up on social media. Like, if you think about athletes on social media 10 years ago,
Yeah.
there really weren't a lot of prominent guys on there saying anything.
Yeah.
Like, they were scared to say, it was just typical, fluffy promotional stuff.
Sure.
Well, now you got the beefs. You got Kevin Durant beefing with people on there.
Yeah.
You got LeBron commenting on things. So I think the NBA guys, and you can hate this as it sounds like you do. It's certainly not my thing, but I think that's a big reason why the NBA is into this sort of sensationalized, like National Enquirer type culture, is because a lot of their league is more interesting on social media than it is on the court. And the players play into it.
Yeah, and like I said, maybe it's all like you said, it's all encompassing. It comes together. But to me, as someone that tries to watch, obviously for our show, and I grew up being an NBA fan, and I'm not saying that the NBA game is bad. I'm not trying to take shots at the game itself. I think the athletes today and the players are incredible. I find the coverage of it to be nauseating. Where, prime example, we talked about this last week. The number one story about the NBA draft right now, and this is a big NBA draft. I mean, I know it's not this, this changer with Wemby or whatever, but again, for a lot of teams, like you're a lottery team, see the Blazers, and the number one story is LeBron James's kid. And the biggest story right now, like I've seen as many stories about LeBron James and maybe going to play with his kid somewhere that I have exactly what's happening in the finals.
Did you see the new one? You'll have fun with that one.
What's the new one?
The new one is that he has refused, Bronny, to do workouts for 10 NBA teams, will only work out for the Lakers and Suns.
But it's just, it's such an S show. But again, Boston is rolling right now. They were the best team in the regular season. They had the best point differential, right? They're just crushing teams. And yet we don't talk about why they're crushing teams. We don't talk about why Boston's good. We sit there and we come up with horse crap days of our lives stories to throw out there about Boston and about Tatum. And we'll do it here with Kyrie. How much you want to bet if Dallas beats Minnesota tonight and they get there, we're going to start with the Kyrie Irving. Is Kyrie Irving we'll instantly go to, if Kyrie does this, who's he better than? We'll go to that comparison. Guarantee that will be a headline.
Well, Stan Van Gundy's already doing this is the greatest backcourt to ever play thing with Luka and Kyrie.
It's just
so like we're doing it right now.
No, it's just like I said, this sensationalistic nature of the way the NBA is covered to me is embarrassing. It makes me not enjoy it. I think it hurts my viewership, and I'm telling you, pay attention to it. The WNBA is going down this road, and the WNBA right now has a big opportunity to take a step forward, right? And they got more eyeballs on them. And I swear to God, every story that I see come across my timeline comes across ESPN.com. It has nothing to do with on the floor stuff. It is all petty high school BS about beefs and feuds and this and that and disrespect. And it's absolute trash. And I hope that the WNBA doesn't fall into that.
Well, they already are, it sounds like.
Yeah.
According to you.
Hopefully they find a way to pull out of it. As someone said, it's the only sport where you have a show dedicated to their wives. It's like the basketball wives. Yes. And most of them aren't even wives. They're just gals that slept with a bunch of NBA players and have a kid.
I'm pretty sure there's a NASCAR wives show.
Is there?
I think so. I think CMT does it maybe.
Yeah. I think the nature of the basketball world is very insidery.
Yeah.
It's sort of inside scuttlebutt type stuff.
Yeah.
Like drama and I think all of that with social media gets enhanced. Whereas football, I feel like football, I keep going back to football and trying to like think about the differences. I think football is just more like fans talking about the sport.
Yes.
It's just fans are interested. This is interesting. Tell me why this is interesting. Let's have an interesting conversation about this sport. It's so complex. There's a lot to chew on.
Yeah.
Whereas basketball, I think
Well,
it's just more about,
just-
who hates who, who's
Yes.
beefing with who, who's
It's drama.
and that's just kind of the nature of that game. But you're right. I think that the leagues play into it.
Yeah.
And the coverage plays into it. And they maybe did that to try to get more, to try to kind of keep up with other more popular sports, but it may be backfiring on them in a way too.
And I'm not trying to point him out specifically because I think the sport in general is covered this way. Like I said, I think Kendrick Perkins is the worst at it. I can't. I think he is an absolute troll of the highest order.
He went on today and said he regrets his Defensive Player of the Year vote for Gobert because he's been so trash.
Oh my God.
But isn't he? But that's what I'm talking
That's
about. Like
yes.
that's how he thinks.
Yes.
And that's the insidery guy that they are continuing to prop up as these so-called NBA experts.
Yes, this is the same guy that basically said that Jokic couldn't be an MVP 3 years in a row because he was white. Like that is a real thing that he had a problem with. But that's what I said. I'm not just putting this on one guy because I think it goes across, and I think there are others that are fighting it. I think Legler fights it. I think Mark Jackson fights this when he did stuff. I thought he did a really nice job. Reddick has talked about it. That's why he started the podcast with LeBron, even though LeBron falls into this because he's a master of drama. That whiny bitch. But at least he realizes that there's a lack of this. But I do think it says something that the number one media personality at ESPN that rose up started with one sport. Where did he come from?
You talking about Screaming A?
Yeah, where did he start?
He's an NBA guy.
He's an
right?
NBA guy.
Sixers.
Yes.
Philly.
He started, and that was a guy that was knowledgeable, right? I'm not saying he doesn't know the game. He started out as
He
a
does know
reporter.
the game, but now he's fallen in.
But that douche canoe rose to fame with this, and I don't think he could have rose doing that with any other sport.
And the ultimate irony, he's now said he's concerned for the future of sports media. Arsonist upset
of
about
all
fire.
the people, arsonist upset about fire.
You know.
Fantastic.
And I think that his rise to fame in that sport, to me, speaks a lot about the coverage of the sport.
All right, we'll carry this over next. And then in the news, have you seen the viral video of the pickpocket? Seen that yet?
The pickpocket.
Costco pickpocket.
I don't think I have.
I haven't either.
You guys need to check it out.
All right.
It's disturbing. That's coming up in 10 minutes. It's 4:21 on the Fan.
It's the Vancouver Ford text line.
Plenty of time to talk. All right, so we got T-Wolves, Mavs tonight, game foe. If Dallas wins, they're in the finals against the Celtics.
Yeah, whether they win tonight. In fact, I don't think any teams come back from 0-3, right?
Never.
No.
Never happened.
Yeah, and by the way,
Your Portland Trailblazers
came close.
Yeah, down 0-2 in 77.
Yep.
But, 3-0. Minnesota's not winning the series.
No.
But isn't it funny how we had Nuggets, Celtics? It was like, come on.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Nuggets and Celtics. Come on.
Yeah.
Fast forward. And then it's T-Wolves, Celtics.
Yep.
And now it's...
Here are the Mavericks. And look,
yeah.
Look.
Why did we not...
Well, because Kyrie... We forget now. Kyrie, this is the redemption tour. Like, we forget. Dude, that guy was the biggest pain in the ass a year and a half ago.
Insufferable.
No one wanted him. Like, he was a cancer. He was destroying his legacy, right? And he goes to Dallas, and it was viewed as this absolute act of desperation. No one thought it was going to work. 2 ball-dominant guys don't want to play defense, need the ball in their hands. And, they tanked at the end of last year, didn't make the playoffs, right? It was just, this was not going to work. And then Dallas kind of scooted along this year, and it was kind of, is this thing really going to happen? And somewhere along the way, those 2 guys committed to playing defense, a couple trade deadline moves, go and get like a PJ Washington. And then lo and behold, here's Dallas. No one thought they'd be here. And I would say if Dallas finishes this off, and I don't know, they'll get to the finals. I don't know if they beat Boston. I think sometimes we outthink the room. Boston's been the best team since day one. They're the best team in the NBA, period, and they get Porzingis back. I think this is Boston's title. But if Dallas wins this is going to be one of the more improbable championships we've seen in quite some time. Because no one thought that this pairing was going to work to this level.
Well, it's one of those where, while that may be true, Luka is so good that in the NBA, when you get a player of that caliber, we did this with Dirk too.
Yeah. Couldn't
get over the hump for a while, but it was always, he's so good that you just think they're going to win one eventually.
Yeah.
Right? And Luka falls into that category. He's just, he's MVP level. He's awesome.
Yep.
He's unstoppable.
And now Kyrie is reminding people, when I'm not being a giant pain in the ass.
When he's committed,
When he's committed and he's a good teammate, he's one of the best closers the game's ever seen.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And now you got 2 of them, and we've seen it in this series where when Luka's not having a great game for the first 3 quarters, Kyrie carries them, and then in the 4th, you go to Luka and vice versa. They've got 2 guys that at any given moment can take over a game and cut your heart out. And then they've got a team around them of nice role players that are lengthy and are committed to playing defense. And you're right. Maybe the best example of this is that other Dallas team that won a title with Dirk. That kind of came out of nowhere.
They weren't expected to win that finals.
No.
And they won.
Those Mavericks also made sneaky midseason acquisitions.
Yes.
Both PJ Washington and
Yes.
Daniel Gafford were midseason guys.
Yes.
And I saw this the other day, I'd forgotten about this. The Washington Wizards were interested in moving Kyle Kuzma, and he blocked a trade to Dallas because he wanted to go to a competitor.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. Well, they were the 5 seed, and they were a game away from being the 6 seed. Like, they were just one of those teams that I remember talking about at the start of the playoffs, and everyone was like, well, maybe. You got Luka, you got Kyrie, and when you got those 2 guys, you got a chance, but not many people saw this coming, and certainly not being up 3-0 on Minnesota.
Well, not with the Nuggets, not with the Timberwolves and Oklahoma City being the top 2 teams in the league.
Yeah.
Or in the West, So, they were kind of easy to overlook, but since the All-Star break, they were as good as anybody.
Yeah.
And Buck's right. That PJ Watt, every time I watch them, that guy, where did he come from? PJ Washington. Anybody?
Where was he?
I don't
traded
recall.
from?
Let me
Because
see.
who did they beat the series before this? Whoever it was, he was as good as anybody in that whole series. Every time I watch, now I don't watch every minute of these games, but every time I watch them play, dude, that guy is really good. And then Lively's giving him great minutes.
Came from Charlotte.
Lively's out now because of that neck
Yeah,
injury.
I saw that, but they're saying he won't play tonight.
Yeah, he's out tonight. He may be available moving forward.
Yeah, it's just.
And by the way, if it goes tonight, there is a big rest because the date is set. So if they close this out, I think we got
it's like 8 days. I think
days.
They can't fast forward that thing.
Nope.
Even though they're both ready.
Negative. We just have to sit around and again, you want to talk about nauseating coverage, dude. If this thing closes out and we have 8 days of having to come up with storylines, I'll play this fun game because I think Dallas closes this out tonight. I'll bet you 3-1 the stories that come over the next 8 days have nothing to do with what is actually going to happen on the court. It will all be ancillary high school drama bullcrap for 8 days. It's going to be insufferable.
So Dallas, if they make the finals, would be the only other 5 seed to make it. Was Miami in 2019-2020.
Okay, so if you remember in the offseason, Dallas signed Grant Williams from that Celtics team, and he did not go over there well at all. He wasn't liked in the locker room, and he came in out of shape. They traded him mid-season for P.J. Washington. So they sent
Charlotte.
From Charlotte. So they sent Grant Williams and Seth Curry and a 2027 first-round pick to Charlotte. They got back Washington and 2 second-round picks.
Hey, good little moves. You know, Cuban, say what you will about Cubes or whoever their GM, I mean, whoever's making these moves.
Yeah.
It's not all Cuban. But they have taken a lot of swings there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Porzingis thing didn't work out.
Yep.
They were able to draft Luka, which we'll get into that maybe even today, maybe tomorrow as well. But how these teams are built is very interesting. Like, there is a way to build a championship team in the NBA, and it is most definitely mostly through the draft.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you complement with, you know, obviously Dallas traded for Kyrie Irving, but these other little moves that they made were really good and really important.
But the move for Kyrie, Kyrie was damaged goods. You know, they didn't even give him a max extension. Kyrie had kind of worn out his welcome to where think about who gets max extensions in the NBA, and Kyrie didn't. That's how little he was wanted. So, dude, give Dallas credit and give Kyrie Irving some credit too. Someone on here says Kyrie might be the first athlete where the shut up and dribble has actually benefited them. And it's true. Like, when's the last time you heard Kyrie being an insufferable douche?
He hasn't made a wave in months, and that used to be all he did.
Yes. And now he just, you know, he just is quiet and he plays, and he's on the doorstep now of a, you know, possibly winning a title. And I mean, he'll still be second fiddle, obviously, to Luka, but I feel like this one would be more his than the one in Cleveland. I mean, obviously, they don't win that one in Cleveland without him, but when you're playing second fiddle to LeBron, you get overshadowed. If he does this on his own, the way you want to talk about like dumb legacy conversations, this will go a long way in people's eyes to cementing Kyrie. Remember, he didn't make the 75th, the all anniversary team like Lillard did. Kyrie didn't. Like, he's that guy that just,
well, no one likes him.
Exactly.
But he hit in that Cavs series. He hit the big shot. So, yeah.
I mean, that's what I'll think. LeBron did what I expected LeBron to do against the Warriors in that series, but in the biggest moment, Kyrie took the ball from the best player in the game, and he downed him in Game 7. That's cojones.
Yeah. So now we're going to have to root for Boston.
I can't.
Aren't we?
I can't do that.
You rooting for Dallas?
I can't do that either.
The Celtics are the balls.
I don't know what to do.
You can't root for Dallas.
I think I'd have to root for Luka, probably. I don't mind Luka.
Why?
I don't know.
He's always whining and
Ooh,
crying.
he's got a big whiny bitch factor going on.
He does. God.
Have you seen the Celtics?
I don't mind the Celtics. I like the way they play. I just don't. Boston just doesn't need another championship.
Exactly.
This is the only thing that.
Luka's starting to remind me of a White Harden. He's like bumping into everybody and wanting to call every
For
time.
sure.
I mean, and he's phenomenally talented and probably more physically skilled, but boy, he wants to call every play.
The thing that bothers me most about Luka is, again, the sandbagging nature. Like, I feel like he's constantly dragging a leg or an arm like he's gonna die, and
100%.
then he explodes. And then after the game, he's like, "What are you talking about? I'm fine." Then why are you limping around out there all the time?
And then, by the way, he's a game time decision every single night. But then he's going to
night.
play and drop 30.
I don't know. I don't know what to do because I can't bring myself to root for a Boston team. But
Well,
the Dallas team isn't super likable. I like Cubes though. I like Cuban.
I like Cubes too.
Can I root for Cuban?
You can.
I mean, I don't.
Yeah, you can root for whoever you want, man.
Does Tim Hardaway Jr. do anything for you?
No, not in the least. But at least you have 8 days to figure it out.
Yeah, we'll have a long
Here's what's
long
wild.
time.
I got to go back to Salina again.
Mhm.
I will be back before the damn finals start. I'm going to take
You don't
a
leave till next week.
Yes, and I don't leave till Saturday.
Yeah. Welcome to the world of trying to come up with NBA topics. Hey, let's talk about the NHL.
And that's
man.
another reason why your NBA topics are the way they are.
Bring gas.
There's not that much to talk about, so they're just going to sit there and talk about
dumb stuff.
dumb stuff for 8 days, and then until we have a game.
Wait till Boston loses one game in the NBA Finals. What's wrong with the Celtics? Jason Tatum's a bum.
All right, in the news is next. We've got local death news to tell you about, unrelated to Bill Walton. I want this man to be mentioned as well.
Okay.
And the pickpocket video. Have you seen the pickpocket video?
I haven't.
Well, you need to go see it.
Well, I don't know what do I
It's
just
prep.
I just look up.
Portland, Oregon pickpocket video Costco.
Working on it.
I want to know your thoughts.
Okay.
We'll get to that next. Here's Buck. Peru. Thank you, Iraq and Iran and such as.
The Iraq.
It is International Hamburger Day.
Love a good burger. Had one yesterday.
Have you noticed that they don't really serve hamburgers anymore?
Oh, it's
anywhere?
cheeseburgers.
It's cheeseburger.
Yeah. Well, you can just get it without the cheese. But...
Well, I know, but when we were kids,
yeah,
cheeseburger was special. It was, you would order a hamburger, but if the cheeseburger was different.
Yeah, you bring up a valid point in that the hamburger officially has been replaced by the cheeseburger.
I think we officially somewhere, I don't know when, but we officially just decided that
cheese makes it better.
A hamburger with cheese is just superior in all ways, and so therefore there's no such thing as a hamburger. Yeah. It's now just a cheeseburger.
It's funny that if I'm making burgers now, like yesterday we were grilling, well, someone was grilling, and there was never an ask of, do you want cheese? It now becomes, does anyone not want cheese? Even the question has changed. I remember growing up, it used to be like, hey, does anyone want cheese on the burger? Now, you have to specifically be like, no cheese for me.
Right.
Because cheese is going on there.
Well, today we're celebrating the hamburger.
Are we?
We're supposed to be.
I think we're celebrating the cheeseburger. Because if you told me we were having hamburgers and cheese wasn't on the menu, it wasn't an option, I'd be like, seriously? What sort of horse crap barbecue are you inviting me to?
It is also National Brisket Day.
No, now we're talking.
Barbecue. Yeah, so we're celebrating brisket and the hamburger on the same day.
Yeah.
I think they could maybe separate those, but they chose not to.
Also, I don't know if you do this, but given the choice, like sometimes you go to like a golf tournament or whatever, or and they'll have like a plate of brisket and then the buns to make the sandwich. I just skip the bun. When it comes to my barbecue meats, I just raw dog it. I don't want it on a bun.
No, I like the bun.
Do you?
I do.
Yeah, the bun is.
I don't really know why.
Superfluous for me.
I think the ratio matters. If it's too much bun, that's going to be no good. I totally agree with just going straight to the meat. Like dip some brisket in a little sauce and you're good to go. But but I also do like a scoop of pulled pork on like a nice little brioche thing. Yeah.
We were at when we went to the Timbers game. They had a little barbecue buffet down there for their food line, and they had the buns, and it wasn't even an option for me. Just give me a big plate of the meat. I'll throw the barbecue sauce, maybe some baked beans mixed in there, but I got no time for a bun. The burger has to have the bun. But when we're talking barbecue meats, to me, the bun distracts from the meats.
You don't really need it.
No, get
you
it
don't
out of
have
here.
to have it.
Yeah, it's out. It's bush.
But in other, like sandwiches, you would never do that.
No. Barbecue meats, like the brisket, is the only time where I look at it, and I'm like, I got no time for this. Like the hot dog, I'm not eating a sausage or a hot dog without a bun. I'm not communist.
But what if you got like potato salad sandwich? I mean, you don't really need the bun.
No,
it's potato
you don't.
salad.
Yeah.
Just eat it.
Yeah. See, that's another one
With a
too.
fork.
I think I could just ditch the bread. I don't need it.
Well, I'm glad we covered that. Important food talk. Bill Walton has passed. We talked about that in hour one. Local legend Art Lawrence passing over the weekend.
Should I know who Art Lawrence is?
I want to say Art was on our program at one point.
Yeah.
But I'm not positive. He was 80. He was one of the co-founders of the Oregon Brewers Fest.
Okay.
Big time baseball lover. I got to know Art through the
Friends of Baseball.
Old Timers. Well, not Friends of Baseball, but the Old Timers. Old Timers Baseball Association.
Mm-hmm.
They used to host their banquet, and Art was big into that. An all-around great human being.
Okay.
He passed over the weekend, so I wanted to mention him. He was the co-founder of Portland Brewing. So like one of the first. He's kind of like a beer pioneer in Portland. Like when you think of, I think what a lot of people in the craft beer industry would say, if you said, "Hey, give me a name of the early pioneers of craft brew in Portland," they would say Art Lawrence.
All right. Well, I'm sorry, Art, that I wasn't familiar with your game.
He listened to the show.
All right. Well,
we talk some baseball from time to time. You could find him up at the Cascade. Was it the Cascade Barrel House over there on Highway 10?
Sounds like a good dude.
He was a great man.
All right.
And he will be missed. Yeah. Did you see the pickpocket video?
I did see the pickpocket video. I didn't know that was in Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Costco.
Had no idea.
Pretty basic little scheme they're getting away with there.
It is, but it's incredibly sad.
Yeah, because
the old man just
there's no scheme.
has no idea.
It's just you're just picking on an old person that can't do anything.
Or he doesn't really even know.
No. By
Doesn't
the way,
have all his faculties.
Shout out to him for being 93 and taking yourself to Costco, but having watched that video, it's so sad. But I did have this thought, and this probably makes me a big jerk, and I apologize. Was I the only one thinking, why is that dude driving to Costco? Like, he can barely push a cart. He has no idea what's happening when someone steals from him. And that guy's getting behind the wheel of a Cadillac somewhere and then going down the road. It's terrifying.
We should be making everybody take their driver's test at age 65 and 2 years after that. Yeah. Every year.
That being said, it's such a sad video because he really has no idea.
Yeah, he has no clue, and he keeps grabbing for. Well, we'll come back and we'll talk about it. But there's perps on the loose.
Yeah.
Next on the Fan.
Yeah. The home of Dirt and Spray.
I'm Dirt. David Sampson. Nothing.
Three pickpocketers caught on camera stealing a wallet from a poor 93-year-old guy in Portland. This was at the Costco in Northeast.
Yeah, it's not like they have some sort of elaborate scheme.
No.
The dude's pushing the cart and they just come up from behind and take his wallet.
Yeah, right in broad day. Like, there are other people.
Yeah, just
And it's not like he's really good at it either, the pickpocket guy.
No.
He digs around in his pocket.
Yeah.
Like, you think of pickpocket, I think of somebody who's really skilled at just...
And you've seen those videos, like those people are terrifying.
Yeah,
They
like they're
bump-
really fast.
Yeah, they like bump into you,
And you don't even know how
you
they
don't even
grab
realize
it.
it's gone.
You can't even see it.
Yeah, this old guy feels it, but like he
Yeah.
doesn't turn around. And
There's 3 of them.
I know.
And they're all walking kind of close to him. The other 2 are kind of playing decoy a bit.
Yeah.
In the event that the old guy turned around, then the pickpocketer guy could get with the other 2 and then just pretend that they were walking a little too close.
Although, to be honest, maybe it was the best thing that the old man didn't really realize what was going on, because God forbid if he did turn around and confront him. He's 93 and can,
Well, that's true.
I mean, at least he didn't get hurt.
But they're out there and, I mean, just right in front of cameras. There are
Yeah.
other people.
And by the way, we got a good look at him, like
Yes.
the cameras. So I got to believe that eventually, I mean, I don't know what'll happen to him. I mean, how big of a crime is pickpocketing? It's Portland, for God's sakes. But, I mean, the photos are abundantly clear. Like, you should be able to catch these guys.
Well, they haven't found him yet.
Yeah.
They said that these bros they believe, have carried out similar crimes in the Seattle area.
Yeah. Just picking on the olds.
My
Yeah.
mother-in-law was a victim of one of these. She's in her late 70s, and she was at like a TJ Maxx, and she had one person ask her a question about something she was looking at while she turned her back on her cart, and they grabbed her purse out of the cart while she was talking to them. It was like a 2-person kind of tag team deal.
Yeah.
And then just like this case, they immediately took her cards to like a local store to try to load up on gift cards and use the cards right away. That's what these people did too. They said they went to a Fred Meyer and they spent $1,500 of that dude's money.
Well, the purse is it's a bigger target. It's
And it was
usually
sitting out in the open. It's not
out.
a pickpocket.
Yeah,
so.
it's not on someone's person as much as you got to root around in that guy's back pocket. And the old guy, it's just so sad. The old guy is like that, and he reaches back. He's like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, it's rough.
And then he just keeps walking. He just never really.
No, and the guys don't do any. I mean, it's the least elaborate crime in the world, but obviously it's pretty effective. On the plus side, like, how much money is that old man carrying in his wallet? Nowadays, your credit cards and all that, it's easy to cancel those, get whatever money back.
Well, I think a lot of credit cards too, or even bank cards, they catch it before.
Yeah, really quick.
They don't get away with anything.
No, and so it's, whatever cash he's got. I mean, I guess you can get into identity theft, if that's the deal. But, I mean, hopefully the old man is not out too much. And,
Here's the question. Does the 93-year-old man even know that he has gone viral for being pickpocketed?
No. I'm guessing, no offense, but watching him in that video, I'm not certain that he is,
Does he know his wallet is gone?
Well, I did see an officer say they're trying to find and identify as many victims as they can with hopes of tracking these dudes down. And so, I mean, if they have this guy as the victim in the video, I bet the cops have told him, hey, we found out.
Well, it's so sad because you watch him and he feels it.
Yeah.
He feels someone in his back pocket, but he doesn't turn around.
Yeah.
They take the wallet from him, and then you can tell he kind of realizes the wallet's gone, but he just keeps walking. Like he can't figure out that the 3 dudes right behind him or the ones digging around in his pocket. Like, I think that man's got some other stuff going on besides the fact that he had his
Well, I
wallet
tell you,
stolen.
one other thing that's developed here, just in the last 5 minutes or so.
Oh yeah, Bucks.
Oh, the olds are mad at Buck.
Yeah.
They are not happy about this.
Nope.
65. Buck suggests a driver's test, 65.
Yeah, I'm going to stand on that,
Well, this
too.
guy says you can take that driver's test and shove it up your you-know-what.
Guess what? If you got no problem driving, you won't have any problem passing that test.
This guy says, I know you 30-somethings are expert on aging. I've got a feeling at 65 I could outperform you at many, many things.
Boy, they take it personally, don't
Well,
they?
I'll tell you
I got a
Yikes.
full on FU from ex-military, so
Yeah.
I'm really earning it
He's
this
got
time.
an FU and a shove it up his ass.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, I feel a decathlon coming on.
Right in the butt.
I feel like we have 10 events, a decathlon between a 65-year-old man here and our very own Ryan Buckley. Tell me that
Well,
you wouldn't tune into that.
It is
Tell me
interesting.
that as people get older, they don't get worse as drivers.
Yeah.
The ones who can do it adequately can prove it.
No, I'm with you on that, Buck. It is interesting how bristly these people are getting when your point is simply that, okay, just take and pass the test. It's not hard.
Yeah, my grandmother insisted she was fine, and she mistook the accelerator, or she thought she was in drive, or she thought she was in reverse when she was in drive, went right over a curb and into a FedEx storefront. Should not have been driving.
Look, I would like to say that I side with the old men against Buck, because screw Buck.
And usually I would too, but not here.
Cram it. But I will say
He's
this.
right.
Look, I love my holds, but I live in an old folks community. I live across the street from a community where you have to be 65 or older. And there's a bunch of retirement homes back there too, like the villas. I will tell you, walking or driving in my neighborhood, you keep your head on a swivel.
And I am not
because
saying
you don't know what the hell is going on the road.
Let me be clear. I'm not saying that all 65-year-olds plus are bad drivers. I'm just saying you get a whole larger percentage of them once you cross that barrier.
Come on. If you're over the age of 65, you have to admit that over time, depending on how old you are, your reaction time, your eyesight, your memory, all these things, you have these lapses that could be conducive to some trouble on the roadways. Now, yes, of course.
Maybe I don't have the age right. Maybe it's 70. Maybe it's 75.
Well, but to this other guy's point, there are bad drivers of all ages. That is true.
Sure.
But there's a difference between a bad driver and someone who just simply doesn't have the faculties to even pull it off now. Yeah.
I see at least 3 to 4 times a week, I see someone driving who clearly has no business driving. And it just bless their heart. But that being said, Buck, cram it. 65.
Yeah.
I want to see this old man kick your ass.
I do too. It'd be good for the show, I think.
I think it'd be great to see Buck. And here's the thing, Buck, if you are competing against an old man, do you feel bad if you smoke him? Do you have to hold back? Or is there that moment of you're terrified that this old man may mop the floor with you?
Well, I didn't challenge his strength. I don't think I should have to fight him.
I think we come up with a series of mental and physical tests between you and this 65-year-old man and see what's up.
Someone else says that they should also have to issue a certification for using the self-checkout at a certain age. At a certain age.
It's tough.
But where do you draw the line? I mean, the poor olds they're just doing the best they can.
I like it.
Driving's just
they write a lot of checks at the new seasons,
Yeah.
and let me tell you something.
Takes a while.
You want to see anger? Have a busy afternoon at the new seasons, line of 7-8 people, and Gertrude break out the checkbook.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What's worse, breaking out the checkbook or the coin purse? Because they break out the 67.
Exact.
Okay, here's 25. Oh, here's a dime. So that's, what do I got there? 35. What do we need to get? 67. Okay, let me check here. Oh, look at that.
It's
a 50-cent piece. You know where I got that? I got that for. Dude, it's the worst. At least with the check, they autograph it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I experience this on a daily basis living where I live, and sometimes it's adorable, and other times you're just like, oh, what are we doing? But the roads are it can be a little scary.
Yeah, the roadways need to be protected.
Yes, it's
from
rough.
the olds.
And I will say this too. Why does the old ladies in my neighborhood insist on driving the world's largest cars? You would think as you get older and you're shrinking, you see these ladies who literally it's not an exaggeration where when you see them go by, all you see is a pair of hands and then the top of a forehead, barely looking over the wheel. But it's always a giant SUV or a big, long, 1989 Cadillac.
Make them feel safer, maybe?
I don't know. You would think that you'd want something small and compact that's easy to maneuver. No, they want the longest, heaviest car imaginable, and I do not understand that.
Maybe pretty soon we're going to see a bunch of olds driving around, peering over the wheel of a Tesla truck. Have you seen that thing? Have you seen one of those in the wild?
Yeah, the Cybertrucks.
Oh, my God. Yeah. That's the ugliest damn car I've ever seen in my life.
And they're plummeting in value. No one.
Well, they should. No, why would anyone want to drive that? Except
they're all getting recalled too.
If Granny is in that thing, man, she's winning that. You get in a wreck with her, she's winning.
Just a big pile of death steel. Well, what we do is we just need the automated cars, and then we give those to the olds.
Well, here's see, they're getting offended right and left. Now P1 Scott is in. And he is retired. I don't know how old he is exactly, but he said, well, looky here. What age group has the highest death rate in car crashes? The answer, according to his internet research, 25 to 44.
Oh, Well, maybe it's the aggressive driving.
Distracted driving as well, cell phones.
Yeah. Well, Buck, you've done...
Well, maybe we should all take more driving tests. I'm in the prove it camp.
Buck's pissed off a lot of old people.
I'm standing on this one. I'm not backing down on it.
I want Buck to get hit with an old hickory stick. It's just Buck comes
Cause
out
a car accident on the way home.
Buck comes out of the office and there's just an old waiting there with his walking stick, his canes to take one of the chops.
Remember when you get in the car, or the truck with Grandpa, and you'd ask Gramps like how many, like when you gonna get there, and he'd be like, about 4 beers. The good old days.
One of the best viral videos ever. You had to have seen it. It's the news report about the people being angry about the drinking and driving laws.
Oh no.
I'll find it. Buck, we'll bring it because you can see it. Like it's better when you can visualize it. But it's from like 1980 something, and it's when they started passing like open container laws, and it's from Missouri or some Midwestern thing or whatever, and it's just people outraged that it is now illegal to drive while having a beer, and it is phenomenal.
I haven't seen that.
It's a real report, and the guy's like, man, you work all week, it's like I bust my ass like 70 hours, and like I can't even have a few beers while I drive home. And then there's another lady that's like this is communist, like this isn't Russia, this is America.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Oh no, they were hurting you so bad.
Yeah.
Oh no.
All right,
Back in the day, man, having a road soda was a thing.
The Hot 5 at 5 is next. There is in the news March 28, 2024. This is The Fan.
Hey, it's Suk. And guys, for those of you with a full head of hair, congratulations. Studies show that one of the most attractive physical features is a full head of hair. It sucks to be me, because you know what the least attractive? Well, hair loss. And some say that no amount of cars or houses or success can make up for balding, as it leaves the greatest lasting impression. But it doesn't have to be that way for a lot of you. For me, it's too late. But Advanced Hair has the quick one-day solution for a lot of your hair losses that can make you look 10 to 20 years younger. No more expensive pills or topicals, just your very own natural hair guaranteed to grow. Advanced Hair has improved tens of thousands of lives, and I sure wish they were around when I went bald decades ago. Did I mention with Advanced Hair, your own natural hair begins to grow the very next day. So for your free, no-hassle consultation, call 503-832-HAIR. And if you qualify, you get $250 and 250 free hair grafts. That's 503-832-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit, hims.com/joy.
The home of Colin Cowherd, always live on the Odyssey app, is KFXX KWJJ HD2 Portland, 1080 The Fan.
Brains without a lot of ego.
An Odyssey sports station. Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this Sports Center update. First on The Fan, on the hardwood tonight, the Mavericks look to complete the sweep of the Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals. Derek Lively out for Dallas. Luka Doncic, Mike Conley, both game-time decisions, but both are expected to play. Tip-off at 5:30 on TNT. The Mavericks are favored by 1.5 at home. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Panthers looking to even their series with the Rangers in Game 4. Puck is just about to drop in Florida over on ESPN. In college baseball, the regions are set as the road to Omaha begins. Oregon State earning a home region as the 15th national seed. They will take on number 4 seed Tulane on Friday. The Oregon Ducks make it as a 3 seed in the Santa Barbara region. They will take on University of San Diego on Friday at noon. The Mariners host the Astros again tonight after taking Game 1 of the series by a final of 3-2. Luis Castillo on the hill for the M's. Hunter Brown takes the bump for Houston. First pitch from T-Mobile right after 6:40. And in the NFL, the Texans and receiver Nico Collins have agreed to a 3-year, $72.5 million extension with $52 million in guaranteed money. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
It's The Fan on FM. Go to 99.5 FM HD2 and enjoy high def 1080 The Fan.
Good afternoon. At the tone, Pacific Daylight Time will be...
It's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock.
One step closer to my own personal hell.
This is Primetime on Sports Radio 1080 The Fan.
We expect the best. We're not afraid to break someone. Do you hear me?
Primetime is your source for the best in local, regional, and national sports.
Go ahead and clap. Mediocrity deserves applause.
Isaac Robb.
I'm miserable. I had to get up at 10 o'clock this morning.
Jason Sakanik.
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Primetime on 1080 The Fan.
All right. Welcome back. Hope you're having a nice little Tuesday. It's your sports bros, Rop and Sook. Isachi here. Big Sook's right over there.
Right here.
Isachi. So.
Sada.
RJ Azini says, I'm turning 50 tomorrow and in the process of teaching a 15-year-old how to drive. I have zero doubt which age group is the highest risk on the roadways.
Guess who's getting tested for driving? 15 and 16-year-olds.
That's exactly right.
And by the way, my dad is 66. He's a great driver. He races cars. It's not that 66-year-old people can't drive. They can. It just gets diminishing at that point in time.
And yet, both of the people that could be president are both like 80 years old.
Presidents aren't allowed to drive.
I'd like to see Trump drive.
When's the last time he drove a car?
If you had to sit, okay, you're going to the coast, and Joe Biden is driving, or Donald Trump is driving, which car are you getting in order to survive?
I think I'm getting in Trump's car.
Are you?
I think so. Well, I know Biden's always driving around like he's a vet guy. He's a car guy. And Trump has been driven around. I don't know.
I don't know that Trump even drives.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen him drive because I'm assuming he's been chauffeured for his entire life.
Could he drive?
That's
I'm
a
getting in
question
Biden's car.
For Google. Yeah, maybe I'm getting in Biden's car. I mean, God, they're both old as dirt. Yeah, maybe Biden, because I do think that Biden is a car guy. I think he's got a Corvette that they let him drive like on like private roads. You know, when they close off, because that's the crazy thing. I mean, you're president. You can no longer drive. They will not let you.
All right, coming up here, we will talk a little bit more about the NBA Finals and how these teams were built. Big day tomorrow in baseball, and we've got some hot mic audio, high school soccer commentator. Yeah. Well, have you heard this?
I have not heard this.
Well, you're going to hear it.
All right.
Some of it. So we'll have that for you. In the club tonight, yet another midair U-turn.
Yet
another one.
Does this just drive you? This is your...
Well, no, I only bring it up to see if you think it's okay that this plane turned around, because it's a completely different. Every one of them, it's like a new circumstance, and they're like, nope, got to turn it around.
Turn around. By the way, I did find an article from Bloomberg saying that Trump does indeed miss driving.
He misses driving.
Says he misses driving,
and he drives his golf cart.
Says he misses his car. So yes, apparently, although he can't drive now, being a former president, but at one point, yes, he did drive.
All right. So the club 6 to 7 right now. The hot 5 at 5.
Oh. Hot topics, hot opinions.
Oh, Charlie, I'm hot today.
And hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Online at victorricos.com. Number 5.
LPGA star Lexi Thompson is retiring at the age of 29.
I know she's been a professional for 15 years, and it sounds like she's just burnt out. She's just done.
She won 15 times, including one major. She is also the tour record holder for youngest player to ever win a tournament. She won at 16.
Did you read any of her statements?
A little bit.
Yeah, it just sounds like, whole child prodigy thing and just doesn't like golf anymore.
Made a lot of money.
And just is done.
Maybe she can go to live.
I'm guessing that burnout thing, that's a real thing when you're a prodigy like that and you're pushed into it. So good for her. Hopefully, she says she doesn't even know if she wants to play any golf anymore. Said going forward, she's not sure if she'll play at all.
She has that right, Jace. Scotty Scheffler charges could be dropped tomorrow. There will be a press conference.
There should be after seeing that video.
And, the PGA Tour lost longtime member Grayson Murray over the weekend.
4.
He committed suicide.
I guess he had been pretty public about battling alcohol issues and some mental health stuff, but everyone kind of thought that maybe he'd put that behind, but you never know what someone's struggling with.
He was the one who got he was in it with Kevin Na.
Yeah.
Do you remember that battle of
because
wits?
Back in the day, he was a pretty outspoken guy, and I guess that a lot of that was booze.
Yeah, Murray was pretty abrasive, but sad story. 16 programs get to host an NCAA baseball regional. Oregon State is one of them.
Yes!
After landing the number 15 overall seed in the 64-team tournament. 10th time since 2005, the Beavers get to host. They will play Tulane on Friday. Nicholls State and UC Irvine, the other two there.
And then the Beavs, or the Duckies, I think they're down in Santa Barbara. And they made it, but they got to travel.
Was that a question?
We're ready to. He's right. No,
they
he's
went down to Santa Barbara.
Confirmed.
No, it sounded like a hanging stick.
Number 3.
Longtime Major League Baseball umpire and hated by all, Angel Hernandez.
Thank God.
Is retiring.
Immediately.
Effective immediately, yes. He's 62. He says he wants to spend more time with his family, but it appears that he and MLB came to a nice little settlement agreement, say, get the hell out of here.
Go away. He's the worst umpire, one of the worst of all time. He also sued Major League Baseball for racism, claiming they didn't give him postseason assignments because of his racial background.
He's Cuban.
The best part is during that, Major League Baseball just put a clip of his calls. It was like, you suck at your job. And
there's some really bad ones.
He is horrific, and he's just an ass.
Yeah, he's widely panned by players and managers. They all hate him. He's probably the most notorious umpire in history. But
I would think so.
Major League Baseball always maintained over the years that he was actually good at his job. They review him all, and they said he was good. He will not be missed.
No, by anybody.
Go look at his. There's a CBS Sports did his 8 worst calls. Go look at number 1. He calls a strike. The pitch was 7 inches off the plate.
Well, and the last one that I remember was the Bryce Harper check swing.
Yeah.
It's egregious.
The Mavs get Maxi Kleber back tonight in Game 4 against the Timberwolves. Derek Lively, though, doubtful due to that neck injury. Dallas up 3-0. They are seeking their first berth in the finals since 2011. Tonight on the ice, the Rangers look to go up 3-1 on the Panthers in Florida. The Kraken are expected to hire Dan Bylsma to replace Dave Haxtell.
I think that's actually official now.
As coach.
I believe.
Is that the old Penguins coach?
Yeah, I do think that is the old Penguins coach.
Yes, he previously coached the Pens and the Sabres. He was an assistant with your Red Wings and most recently coached the Seattle AHL franchise.
Yeah, Seattle had a good run last year, and then this year they fell off, and someone had to pay the price.
So they fired the coach, huh?
Yep. It's a lot easier than firing players.
Come too far together to stop now. Let's do it. That's it, baby. Shut it from the rooftops. America's #1 fighting force.
Number 1.
Number 1.
Number 1.
And number 1 is sad news. This happened yesterday, but in case you were traveling, Blazers great Bill Walton has passed away at the age of 71.
I guess he was privately battling colon cancer. And
didn't tell a soul.
Nope, just those close to him, and passed away, and he will be missed. The world is a worse place today without Bill Walton.
Won a title and NBA Finals MVP in Portland 1977, the big redhead.
Well, and
he will be missed.
Without the injuries.
Have you ever been to a volcano?
Bill already was on the All-Century team and one of the 50 greatest players, and remember, his the year after they won the title, Bill actually had a better year. Bill finished runner-up in the MVP voting in 77. He won the MVP in 78. The Blazers had the best record, and then Bill's foot split, and that was the end of it. I mean, they were the odds-on favorite to win back-to-back titles, and then the injuries occurred, and was never the same, but then went on and won a title in Boston years later and was the sixth man of the year, and then, again, the body gave out. But, we don't, as great as Bill was as a person, and that's obviously what people focus on, I think sometimes it gets lost of just how good Bill Walton was. Arguably, probably the second best collegiate basketball player of all time behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
The Hot 5 brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Order now at victorricos.com. A few more Walton clips and NBA Finals musings coming up. It is 5:17 on The Fan.
The Fan merch locker is now open.
more fatalities happen on the roadways at the ages of 25 to 44 than they do 65 and up.
Yeah.
Now, there could be a lot of reasons for that.
Well, there's more of us out there too, and when you're old, maybe you slow down, and all those things. So you don't, I guess you're.
Well, the suggestion is maybe, hey, look, we get it, we're old, but we're safer.
And I think that's for different reasons, though.
And
I
I'm
think
with
that
you.
Right.
Yeah, teenagers are a equally terrifying group, but teenagers, it's terrifying for a different reason.
they're distracted, they're reckless, they're thrill-seeking, they're all those things. I'm up for testing them, too. If you want to take your driver's test every 2 years when you're 16, 18, 20, 22, fine. That's fine with me, too. But my whole point is your reflexes, your sight, your sharp mind when you need to like brake, things like that, though that starts to deteriorate at some point for everyone. I don't know if 65 is the right number. I don't know if 70 is the right number. It's somewhere in there, though.
The conclusion that I've come to is that the driver's test is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because it doesn't test for things like those things that you just mentioned. So some young schmuck who can't drive for S is going to waltz right in and pass that test. They already did.
Yeah.
Or some young schmuck who can and just does it without their cell phone in their hand, without their music on, and then just chooses not to do it that way when they're driving along.
I also think some 75-year-old man can waltz in there and pass that test.
True.
Even though he probably shouldn't be driving. Neither of them should be driving. So the point is, we've got some good points on both sides here.
Should we make driving harder?
I think the driving test should be reevaluated. Yes, definitely.
What if we did this and we shrunk the people driving by like 20%? Roads clear up a little bit. Is this where we're
this
going?
is a nice move.
That'd be great.
We make it harder.
Now, how many of those people? Now, see, that's a good question, because I think if you said we are going to make a very stringent, difficult, hard to pass driving test, 20% of people who drive will no longer be driving. If you were to say what age group are most of those 20% from, it's going to be the olds.
It's the olds and the youngs. It really is. It's going to be 16 to 19, and it's going to be
because if you make a tough
68
test
to 80.
If you make a tough test that does, like, if just testing reflex, right there is going to eliminate a lot of old people.
Yes.
And that's where I think people like Ryan are coming from when they're being a-holes like this to you poor old people.
Yeah.
Who don't have, you're just, look, you're slipping a bit. You know that. It's going to be even worse in 10 more years. It's just that I think the conclusion that I've come to, I just wanted to point this out live on the radio here today in front of all of you, America. The driving test is the problem, not the age of the drivers.
I like where you're going with this. By the way, see what happens when we try to impose strict driving laws and see, you want to talk about an outrage? Go with that. If 20% of the people were kicked off the road, they just drive anyways.
They would.
They would. Whatever.
Yeah.
You think
there'd be no way to enforce that, really? Well, I mean, there would. It's just
but they would do it anyways. You think some 17-year-old kid is just going to be like, well, I can't drive now? And who's going to be more defiant, the 17-year-old or the 75-year-old? Good luck telling a 75-year-old who's got his faculties that he can't drive. Yeah, that's not going to go over well.
Well, maybe just ditch the driving test altogether.
And just have a free-for-all out there.
How about that?
Well, again, self-driving cars. My buddy was in California a couple weeks ago, and he got an Uber that was self-driving, no driver in it. Picked him up and everything.
You can get one in San Francisco this weekend if you want. The cruise company, they're all over there.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he said it was absolutely surreal when it pulled up and there was no one in the car. You get in there and it knows where you're going, and it's away you go. Just do that. It's coming where eventually no one's going to drive.
Yeah, and that's probably going to be better.
You fast forward this thing 20, 30 years, and driving's going to be that's going to be one of those antiquated things. You did what? You drove? Driving will be like people that ride horses. It's like you just do it for enjoyment. It'll be a little niche industry.
Well, there may come a day. I was reading a story today where they were talking about there's a scientist that believes that in the next decade, after 2030, it is a possibility that we can reverse aging.
Oh yeah,
to the place where your kids are gonna be like, "Wait, you used to die?"
Well, I mean,
you can't reverse the biological age.
No, but there is
you're going to die.
Yeah, there is I forget it. Like it's on the little helix. I forget what they're called. we've all seen like the little DNA strand, right? And they're the little ends of the helix. As you age, those things break down. And there is a lot of research, and I think they've been able to do it like in mice and whatnot, that if you can stop that and you can regrow those, you can stunt the aging process. We're not that far off.
From just really slowing down the process?
Yes. And there's a book I'm reading right now or listening to called Outlive, and he's talking about he calls it the 4 horsemen that kill us. And it's cancer, heart disease, metabolic,
old people driving,
and Alzheimer's. And yes, old people on the road. By the way, have you ever seen the South Park episode about old people on the road?
No.
Oh my God. It is the funniest thing in the world, where they make it out to be like a zombie movie where everyone's having to hide, but it's the old people on the road. Like someone's like in the second floor of their home hiding, and an old person's car comes through. The old people are murdering everyone because they refuse to stop driving. It is wonderful.
They came out with one, I think on Friday, where they're tackling obesity in America, and Cartman takes Ozempic.
Yeah. But in this book, he talks about like medicine 2.0 versus medicine 3.0, which is prevention. And he talks about, the idea of living to be 100. And this guy's a really smart guy. He was a cancer doctor for years and years. And, his whole theory is we're not that far away from 100 years being a realistic goal, and not 100 the way we think about 100, being 100 and living like you would be at maybe 60 or 65. And being able to live that way right up until you die, and that being now after 100. And it's science is coming
science. Well, I can't afford it, so I'd rather just die.
Yeah, that's
when money's gonna run out. I mean, how are you gonna afford that? What, do you keep working until you're 110?
Yeah. Oh, and believe me, there's a whole segment of people that believe that that's the reason why the healthcare system is the way it is, that they don't want you to live. They don't want you to get old because, you're expensive. The older you get, you cost more money.
That's right.
So just get out of here.
Off.
Get.
All right, let's listen to some more Walton clips, and we will eulogize the big redhead, the greatness that is Bill Walton, dead at the age of 71. We'll do that next. Here's Buck.
Now, from the fan.
fitting, and I think it is.
The day after the Pac-12 ceased to exist,
Yeah.
Bill checked out.
Bill's out.
I liked the very common notion that he just couldn't live in a world where the Conference of Champions didn't exist.
The champion of the Conference of Champions. He's up there right now talking someone's ear off about talking to God about the the triangle offense or what UCLA is doing or John Wooden and volcanoes.
The men have arrived. This Kansas team, oh my gosh, they are like a volcano. They are like a waterfall that just goes right over everything. They are like a breaching whale that just jumps across your screen at indiscriminate times. What's your name again?
Let's get to the player that we want to talk about here.
The waterfalls that just keep coming down, they have no chance against Udoka, one of my favorite players in all of the land.
Little taste of Bill on the call. There'll
never be another one.
Right off the top of his head, nothing planned.
That had to be Maui Invitational.
Somebody please
I think it was, yeah, because he used to do the Maui Invitational. Of course, Kansas is like a cascading waterfall. There's nothing you can do.
Will somebody please give me the ball? Come on, I'm hungry. I'm ready. Let's go. I love Pac-12 basketball. I love Oregon. I love Voodoo Donuts. I am ready to rock.
Do we have the one where Luke Walton gets kicked out?
Yeah.
That's one of my all-time favorites.
Isaiah Rondo and Luke Walton ejected, Michelle Jalen and Paul that and more as the Warriors have a chance to make it maybe single-digit deficit. But Durant misses on the three. Luke was ejected. And we covered that earlier. 1 second to go. Corner three. Napier. No good. Off the horn. I have failed as a father.
Luke was ejected? I love Dave. Is that Dave Pasch with him there?
I'm not certain.
Probably. That was his most common, I think, ESPN partner. Yeah. Him and McDonough.
And they had a good bit going. Pasch, I haven't seen what Pasch has said today.
I don't know.
Pasch has done something really cool. If you go to his Twitter account, he has screenshotted tons of like inside jokey text messages between the two of them.
Oh, has he?
How he would keep in touch with him in the off season. Now they tell each other they miss each other, but also how he would bust his balls constantly. And so it's
Walton
a nice
would bust his balls.
Pasch's and then a little bit vice versa. He was always doing bits. Like it's a great little snapshot into what their relationship was probably like.
I love bridges. It's really the ultimate tool because it allows you to get someplace you can't get on your own.
There's a lot of bridges here in Portland as well.
12 between the Willamette Falls and the St. John's Bridge on the north, including the Tillicum Bridge, which is the largest, longest non-car bridge in America.
And you rode across it this week, didn't you, Bill?
I rode a bike across it.
Yeah, I'm reading some of these the text exchange, and they're really good. Between the screenshots between him and Bill.
Well, give us a little taste. Let's go. So it's Pasch. So Pasch is the play-by-play guy, and when they put Walton on Pac-12 games, college basketball games, boy, it sure seemed like Pasch could not stand him.
There were definitely times you could tell that Pasch, he was trying to herd kittens, and you just couldn't.
It almost seemed like he was like a circus handler, like just trying to make sure the animal like doesn't go out and like into the crowd and like attack the people.
Yeah, but over time, it seemed like Pasch really leaned into it and just embraced Bill and let him do his thing and was really funny about it. And Bill would rib him back, like, "What's your name again?" And what he said in that clip there. So,
there's a lot of that in these texts. Who are you again? He's asking him constantly.
Yeah, there was like Bill texted him just out of nowhere. He said, "If you're not too busy, there's a terrific Philly basketball game on TV right now. Check it out if you get a chance. Don't on the channel, but it's out there somewhere." And Pasch just responds, "Who is this?"
And it was a game that Pasch was calling. He would frequently text him when Dave was on the call and be like, "Hey, I don't know if you've seen this game, but blah, blah, blah."
So are we to assume that Bill knew that Pasch was on the call, or is it?
No, he did. Pasch said he did.
Yeah.
Okay, he knew.
That he was just always doing bits with him. Yeah.
It's just and he said like Pasch is like the random out of nowhere text. And it would just like, have you ever ridden your bike across California, fighting off snakes, condors, and other birds of prey, wild turkeys and peacocks, stampeding goats, wild boar, deer, elk, iguanas, flies, mosquitoes, 18-wheelers, tractors, planes spewing pesticides, and many other unrecognizable adversaries? Like, that's just...
He texted him
He
that?
texted him that. Have you ever ridden your bike across California? just random things
Bill,
like
no,
that.
I haven't.
Saw that pregame. I wondered what that was for.
I just was carrying it around. I was wondering if you've ever been stoned before. Here, there you go. Now you've been stoned. Okay, you got it.
Too bad this isn't Old Testament times. You'd be in trouble.
No, that is. I was
He's heavy, man. That thing weighs like 50 pounds.
Just carry it in here. Come on, man. Just carry it.
I'm trying to broadcast the game here.
Hold it in your lap.
Here, why don't you put that in your backpack?
Let me put it right there. Let me put it right there. Come on, man. We're celebrating the greatness of stones. I was out with Moses this morning. On the way down, I carried it up. He carved it, and then he carried it down. Please, just take this, please. I'm busy here.
And the three goes. Arizona has the lead, 14-13.
And after you buried them, and they were down by one, they're right back.
I buried them under stone.
Where are your stones, please? Don't be afraid.
So he had a big old stone with him at the broadcast desk.
Bill, he just was truly unique, and
I would have loved to have done. See, like there are a lot of people that were not all that in love with his.
Yeah, I
style.
know some people that drove him crazy.
Drive him crazy, right? Because he would just go like that. For example, there's a game going on, and he's talking about stones.
Yeah,
but I think that would have been. I loved it because I think it gets too. These announcers all kind of sound the same. They're just really buttoned up, and it's just kind of boring to me.
A friend of mine said if you had no interest in the game, Bill's the perfect guy to have on the call. If you are a diehard of that team, it might be the last guy you wanted on that call. Because if you're looking for the analysis of it, I
watched KU games with him, and he was great.
And it's not that like black and white, but I do think there's an element of he could make any random game fun for me. Like I wouldn't have any interest in Washington State, Arizona State, but if he's on the call, I'll watch for a while.
Yeah.
I think it would be fun to do a game with him.
Yeah. Just try to
buckle up.
There was a little bit of like what Mike Barrett had that, I guess, with like with Rice. Like it's probably the funnest, but also the most maddening thing in the world. And I think some of those times Pash probably did get annoyed with Bill, but you could tell that was such a loving friendship, and you knew that when you knew going in what you were dealing with, and it probably kept you on your toes. And I guarantee some of those games, Pash didn't want to do, and having Walton side by side made those enjoyable experiences that you'll never forget.
How many people know Dave Pash? Look, this is not to. I'm sure Dave Pash is great at his job, but how many people know Dave Pash were it not for Bill Walton?
Yeah,
I mean,
I remember once there's the clip out there. They're playing like Cal. And I don't remember who it is, someone in Cal, and Bill won't stop talking about the Cal mascot and the trombone player. And Pash is desperately trying to get him to focus, and Bill's just not having any part of it.
We have one of those Huskies versus Bears.
Yeah, that's one of these similar ones. This is a nature battle.
It usually does when Huskies and Bears get together. You ever seen Huskies and Bears fight? Because usually what happens when that happens is that the dogs come in and they nip and tuck around the Bears, who just kind of stand there and look around, and then eventually the Bears get tired of these little antagonistic Huskies. So the Bears, they just come and they just smash the Huskies. And that's what's happened right now. What are you talking about? I'm talking about Bears and Huskies, the matchup that we have tonight. And did you know that grizzly bears, which used to be predominant here in Southern California, they left millenniums ago. That's a long, long time ago. But in 1933, California's Department of Fish and Wildlife, they brought 27 bears from Yosemite to Los Angeles. And ever since, the San Gabriels and the San Bernardino Mountains, they've got a significant bear population.
A fascinating story. Meanwhile, Thomas Welsh.
It's more fascinating than those timeouts. More fascinating than that foul.
How about the fun facts? You can get hot bear facts.
How great is the best? What are you talking about?
I love the idea that his game prep is only about things that happened in the region historically and nothing about the basketball
And then he
teams.
just regurgitates it. Here's one more. Here he is doing. He's on a NBC Sports Chicago broadcast baseball.
And when they bring that high, hard one in, I stand in and lean back, and then just bam. And it sails away out through the universe like a radio wave that goes past Saturn and Jupiter, Pluto, through the black hole, and into many other galaxies yet named.
The great
Bill Walton.
Bill Walton.
I love bridges.
Never be another one like him.
Never been to a volcano.
Truly one of a kind.
I love volcanoes.
We would all be better off if we had a little more Bill Walton in us, because he was such a loving, caring, inquisitive man. He was a good one. Who has a bad word to say about Bill Walton?
Haven't heard anybody.
No.
By the way, the AAA heating and cooling poll question today, I thought for sure Bill Walton would win this, just the size of his personality. But he is losing out. The question is, who do you consider to be the biggest sports personality of the last 30 years? Charles Barkley leading the way at 53%, Bill Walton 25%, Peyton Manning 17%, and Mike Leach 5%.
Imagine Mike Leach and Bill Walton sitting down to dinner together.
Oh, my God.
Do you think they met? I wonder if they crossed paths at any point. Mike Leach was a Conference of Champions guy for a while.
Yeah.
I bet they did.
Yeah.
Maybe he was doing a Coug game and Leach was in attendance or something. Boy, the conversations to be a fly on that wall.
I would love to sit there and listen to that.
Predict the topic.
Animals.
If Mike Leach and Bill... Yes,
I mean,
that's what I think,
Leach,
too.
we have that whole bit about Leach tracking animals in the snow in the offseason. Like,
It
they
would
would
have
for
been about
sure talk about
animals.
wildlife.
Animals
100%.
are nature.
Yeah.
The grizzly bears in the San Bernardino Mountains.
Maybe even like local terrain and things like that.
So great.
And they would have gone on a hike together. And
There was one person that had a bad thing to say about him. Boston radio today. This guy was getting all kinds of flack because he basically called Walton a phony hippie. We have that if you want to hear that.
What? A phony hippie.
Yeah, this is what he said.
How we doing, guys? Hey, Fred,
Wow.
most important thing you got to do today is you got to, in tribute to Bill Walton, you got to run back the clip many years ago when you hung up on him after the Celtics lost the finals.
Thought about that over the weekend. I'm like, I wonder if that's something. I think we address it, but I don't know that today's the day to play it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, why not? It happened. He called in and he was acting the fool about his son on the Lakers, and they said, first of all, you got to buy a Jeep Wrangler.
I'm looking over these mountains, Majesty. I remember that.
Yeah, but he was like, but while he was selling cars, like, make up your mind, you phony hippie. Like, are you really selling cars, or are you all about peace and love?
That's why I'm not sure if it's the day.
I think Hardy, you might be onto something. I think today, maybe tomorrow.
I did
we do that.
famously hang up on Bill Walton. I would like to know.
Walton, Patino, and Fleury are the grand trio, if I remember right.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Here it is, as requested.
Hold on, let's just hold, because I
don't say anything. Just go ahead. He's dead. It's nothing. I didn't kill him. Go ahead, play it.
I was told.
Boy,
Oh, we don't get to hear it?
Oh, I just cut it off because that's the meat of it right there.
Yeah.
Boston radio.
God, those guys are awful.
Yeah.
Welcome to Boston radio.
Yeah. They're saying that the Celtics championship won't count and Bill Walton's a phony. Nice punch over there.
On the day he died.
Yeah.
At least one of them was like, maybe not today.
Not certain how.
Today.
Yeah, today. I'm not certain how Bill is a fake hippie. No, I'm pretty sure Bill's
Over 1,000 dead shows.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's a weird opinion to. You're right. It's like there's not one person that has said anything bad about Bill Walton. And he's come across, like, I think everyone has come across Bill Walton at some time in their life. Like, he's just been out there.
Yeah.
And he's rubbed everyone so positively, makes so many people smile. And then there's one dude on Boston radio who hates him. It's like.
By the way, that is the most appropriate thing ever, that a guy on Boston radio hates Bill Walton and thinks he's a phony hippie.
What a donkey. All right. We'll wrap up the hour next with super hot sports snorts. It is 5:49 on the Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics. Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Ducks in the big dance.
Heading to Santa Barbara.
Baseball.
Yeah, they do not play the Gauchos in the first game, though. They are the 3 seed. They will take on University, not UC, not San Diego State, but University of San Diego.
Yeah. That's Jim Harbaugh's old school.
That's right.
Yeah.
Friday at noon. I believe you will be able to hear it over on 910 ESPN Portland.
What if is it possible have you seen the bracket? Can we get the Ducks and Beavers in the College World Series? I guess
don't know.
Likely could, but probably
if
in the final.
If they both made the World Series, we wouldn't know the bracket until they.
How many in the World Series? 8.
World Series.
I think they have the bracket out though, so you can see what the paths would be.
That's what I'm predicting.
Yeah.
Ducks, Beavers in the final. College World Series.
Yeah, because I think 8, right? Because we go from the regionals to the super regionals, and then I think the final 8.
You heard it here first. Mods PDX, the future of building is here.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
I'm Dirt. The sad news was earlier in the day. Bill Walton died. That was tough, man. That was really random. We all had the same idea, and everybody made the same joke, but the first thought that popped into my mind, and probably everybody else's, is the irony of it happening the week the Pac-12 ceases to play athletic competition was just too perfect.
Dirt and Spray. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. on 1080 The Fan.
Hey, it's Swag back with you from my friends at Forest Hills Golf Course out in Cornelius, my home course once again. And oh, how the improvements have been going. And the new forward tee boxes have all been seated, will be ready for play this season. New forward tee boxes all around the golf course. So much more open, so much more playable. The greens are dialed in. Do yourself a favor with the longer days, warmer weather. Get out, play your next 18 at Forest Hills Golf Course. Book a tee time now at golfforesthills.com.
This month at Car Toys, it's all about Alpine. Find exclusive deals on receivers, speakers, amps, and more for a limited time. Choose from select Alpine Apple CarPlay Android auto receivers from $299 and get a $100 instant installation credit plus free speakers. Take up to 20% off Alpine speakers and subs. Save up to $150 on Alpine base packages starting at $239. Love what you drive at a store near you or cartoys.com.
Car Toys, a better way to go.
Need inspiration? Shop Fred Meyer for over 30,000 mouth-watering choices with savings beyond low prices, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. More savings and more inspiring flavors make Fred Meyer worth it every time. Fred Meyer, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties or buy 2, get 3 free with your card. Fred Meyer, fresh for everyone.
Are you looking forward to a nice, relaxing night this summer? Well, then you better stay home, because we're throwing a rager and everyone's invited. Portland Pickles Baseball is back, baby. All the teams in our league hate us. Come find out why. PicklesTickets.com. We sell tons of beer. That's PicklesTickets.com.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
In the Ferrari or Jaguar, switching 4 lanes with the top down, screaming out.
Yeah. Primetime with Isaac and Suk on 1080 The Fan.
One last note here. We've run out of time for everything else we were going to discuss this hour, so we'll push it to tomorrow. How the NBA Finals teams were built. Actually, it's the Final Four of the NBA playoffs. And then... well,
it's actually the Final 3 now.
Yeah, but I just have
how those 4
how those 4 in particular were built is kind of an interesting case study, and how to build a winner in the NBA. We'll get to that tomorrow, and we also had the audio of the he was a high school soccer commentator, and
there's high school soccer commentators.
Yes,
they do a little live press box stream so that family and friends can tune in.
Goal.
I used to do that for Grant High School football. Did some play-by-play off of a laptop.
Yeah?
Yeah. It happens all over the country.
I think most people in this business have done that.
Sure. Yeah,
that's kind of where you have to cut your teeth.
It's where you start.
Although this guy seems a little bit older.
Yeah, this guy. So anyway, we'll play it tomorrow, but he's getting raked over the coals because the producer, whoever, Hot Mike, caught him between games talking some mess about it's high school soccer.
Yeah.
And so he was like, he's like, this is terrible.
Making fun of high school soccer.
Yeah, which is, I don't know. I think tomorrow there's a possibility that I will defend this guy.
I love that this is like the most hated man on the internet right now. Rob's like, well, I sympathize with him.
It's
I
not
get
that
it.
bad.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's
Well,
high
Rob
school
said
soccer.
me, everyone was thinking it can.
Yes, I guarantee you the parents were saying the same thing in the stands.
I
Guaranteed.
Well, I love to do this all the time.
But when he
And-
starts commenting on the hot moms, that might be.
Whoa, hey, what's wrong with that?
They're also talking about that in the
Again,
stands.
nothing's wrong with it, but it doesn't go on the broadcast.
Years ago, we had to go when we used to do we still do it. We broadcast like the high school game of the week, and I got roped into doing the color commentary. I don't remember who was my play-by-play guy, but we did a playoff game out at Lake O, and I'm not gonna lie, the best part about that game was the moms. That was like Gabe Miller and Will Darkins was on that team.
Yeah,
this was that long ago. And I will say, I was like, really, I got to go out there and do this on a Friday night. I was like, all right, and enjoyed myself out there. And I was like, God, I can't believe I'm here. And then all of a sudden, I was like, you know what? This is not that bad.
Well, you went to the right game, right?
Yes.
Lake O is.
Yeah, it
Like if
was-
you're gonna draw a game, you want Lake O because of the moms,
Yeah,
right?
it was
Maybe Jesuit.
It was nice. I remember it was Lake O versus who was. I'm trying to remember who they played, but I had a lot of talent in those stands.
Yeah.
I remember that to this day, thinking to myself, oh gosh,
A lot of Cougars.
lot of Cougs out there.
Well, what I was going to tell
Or
you,
Thundercats, as I like to call them.
we may get more into this tomorrow. I don't know, but I just saw a tweet that came across my timeline that said the Negro League stats.
Yeah, they're
Did you
gonna
see
get
that?
included.
The Negro League stats will be integrated into the Major League Baseball statistical database beginning tomorrow.
And Josh Gibson is about to vault into the lead in like 3 big categories.
Yep, because he was dominant.
Yeah. If you don't know Josh Gibson, look him up. He was the Babe Ruth of the Negro Leagues. And a lot of people say he was better than Babe Ruth.
So that happens tomorrow. All right, club. We've got open container laws pissing people off.
Yeah, might as
And by the
well-
way, that's not from Missouri. That's from California.
That's from California. There's no way. With the accents and
Well,
everything.
That's what they said.
It's a news
Look,
report.
there's a lot of rural California.
That's true.
Fella.
It's a news report from like 1981, and it's fantastic.
And we have yet another midair U-turn. Was this one justified? That's next in the club on the Fan.
Victoricos features fresh, authentic Mexican food made from scratch. Hey, it's Dusty, and that's just one reason why Victoricos is my family's go-to when we need a quick and delicious meal. From tacos and burritos to quesadillas and tortas, there's truly something for everyone. Order your favorites now at victoricos.com.
I said, Dusty from the bottom of a well at Power IKEA. And he was like, oh, really? On my phone. And then as he was making fun of me for saying that, his phone kept cutting
Not
off.
from the bottom of the well, mechanic. As Power Kia's got.
That is great.
Seems like he's doing bits.
What's going on now?
Could have been, the timing could not have been any more
Sometimes
impeccable.
the universe just opens itself up to you and you get that.
We have a new bitch drop today.
That whiny bitch. Boy, we're leaning into that.
Who are you talking about? I missed that.
That was about LeBron when he was talking about the X's and O's.
Yeah.
He whines about everything.
That whiny bitch. Yeah, we're talking about Luka, and then they went into a LeBron thing. And
Pop me up over there, bitch. You freaking bitch. Resourceful little bitch. I'm going to kick your ass, you little bitch. She is an aloof bitch. She won't even return his calls, you freaking bitch. What is up with that? Kick the ball, you little bitch. God.
Yeah.
Because these bitches be high maintenance.
Coming hard today.
All right, where were we? I'm coming hard. Oh, you want to hear the audio of the... you were the one that brought this up. This is...
I don't know why. Oh, we were talking about driving and,
Yeah.
the old folks driving, whatever. And this clip's been going around for a long time, but it's a news report. I thought it was from somewhere in the Midwest or the South because of the accents, but they're saying this is from somewhere in California. This is like 1981 when they passed rules for the first time about open containers.
Rules?
Yeah, you're not allowed to drink while driving your car, and the residents of California apparently are none too happy about it.
Any attempt to restrict drinking and driving here is viewed by some as downright undemocratic.
It's kind of getting communist when a fella can't put in a hard day's work, put in 11, 12 hours a day, and then get in your truck and at least drink 1 or 2 beers.
They're making it laws where you can't drink when you want to. You have to wear a seatbelt when you're driving. And pretty soon we're going to be a communist country.
Communist?
I just love that's been going on because that's the same crap you hear now. Socialism, communism.
You can't tell me what to do.
And if you watch the video, the best part about that gal is her baby's just in the front seat of her car, just sitting there.
Of course. Well, don't you think the news seeks out that answer? They probably got 50 people asking them the same question, and they aired those two. For that very reason.
Probably. It is fascinating to me that there was a world, not that long ago, in our lifetime, where you could be driving home after 11, 12 hours of work, have 1, 2 beers. What's the big deal?
A guy can't have a beer or two? Yeah, it is true.
I remember seatbelt laws. I remember
God,
I remember when that became a thing.
Dude, I remember
Bike helmet laws?
I remember standing up in my mom's car as she was driving us to the baseball card shop.
Yes, 100%.
Just standing, on the seats.
Yeah. We used
jumping from the front to the back.
Yeah. Well, you remember, dude, riding in the back of pickup trucks?
Yeah.
Dude, that happened
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
You just pile back there. No, it's this wasn't those laws. Like you said, motorcycle helmets and bike helmets. And,
Simpler time.
Yeah. I don't know.
But their opinions didn't age very well.
No.
No.
Only communism can stop drunk driving. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, smoking on airplanes, somebody brought up.
Oh, yeah. Well, we had smoking at...
When did they ban smoking on airplanes?
I want to say that was probably what?
80s? Was it the late 80s?
Oh, no.
Was it later?
I think that was in the 90s.
Was it?
Yeah. And then, we had smoking. We had a smoking area at our high school. That would have been...
God.
I think that may have gotten the boot in 93. Yeah, we had a smoking circle on campus at our high school. Then they just, made you go off property. You had to go across the street and smoke.
Congress passed legislation banning smoking on U.S. domestic flights of less than 2 hours, effective in 1988.
88?
The law was also made permanent and extended to flights of less than 6 hours in 1990. I love that. Look, over 2 hours, you got to let a guy have a smoke. It's only humane.
Well, I mean... And that was they were still in denial that smoking, when did the tobacco companies finally come clean about the fact that they were killing everybody and settled to you think about the pharmacy company settlements? Dude, the tobacco, wasn't that settlement $20 billion?
Was it?
I think it's the largest of all time.
I remember the movie Thank you for not smoking.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That is a good one. United Airlines created a non-smoking section in 1971 of their airplanes.
That was the first time.
They were the first to do that, which is kind of stupid because if you think about it, like, I mean, you're all in a tube together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
You're sitting in the non-smoking
It's
section.
the same as restaurants. Like, you know, the
Yeah,
smoke.
one side of the aisle is smoking, the other side is not smoking. What's the?
I remember we used to go when we were kids. We'd go to Elmer's. That was like, and I think they're still around, right? Elmer's Pancake House.
I want to say Elmer's is around.
Yeah, that was.
I
some,
think it is.
That was some fancy. If we didn't go to the Norse Chuckwagon buffet, we'd head over to the Elmer's Pancake House. That was I was a big Bobby special, and dude, Elmer's had the non-smoke. Like, I don't know what it was. Everyone that went to Elmer's, just everyone smoked. That place reeked.
Yeah,
And-
it was
and
like
you-
the Village Inn.
Yeah, same thing. It's like I'll take the non-smoking section. What's the difference?
Yeah.
Like, and especially if you got stuck on one that was by the smoking section, you might as well have been in the smoke. I'm like 6 years old and I'm over there sucking down a Marlboro Red. By the way, 1998.
I'm sure you were fine.
The tobacco companies had to pay the states a minimum for the first 25 years, $206 billion.
Did they pay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are we so broke?
Well, I'm sure
Answer that,
I'm sure
bitch.
the states did a great job with their $206 billion.
1994, Delta was the first U.S. airline to ban smoking on all worldwide flights.
Because I do remember, like, now we all have new planes, and so there's no ashtrays. But I remember flying all those years, and like the little ashtray would still
Yeah.
be there.
Well, don't they still have the little no smoking light up there?
Yeah, they do for some unknown reason.
Why?
People think they can vape.
I guess.
Oh, maybe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was about. And like cars, like no cars have an ashtray anymore, do they?
That's a good question.
That is
I
a
don't
good question.
feel like I've seen one for a while.
None of my cars have ashtrays or the cigarette lighter.
I tell you what.
I still have the lighter. Like,
still have the lighter?
And I don't actually remember if the car came with the lighter, but it has the port where you can put the converter in, so I'd assume it did.
Boy,
If you were a smoker,
yeah,
I bet you those armrest ashtrays, like in cars and airplanes, were great. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Because think of how many times, like I mean, I smoke a little bit. I was in the bar business, right?
Sure.
It was often always hard to find. Like you'd ash in all kinds of weird places. But just having a little ashtray right there.
too, especially if it's cold and you have to roll down your window to flick it out. You know, yeah, I'm sure the little ashtray, but that thing had to just be an unmitigated mess.
Disgusting.
Yeah. Someone's saying they work at a Mercedes-Benz dealership, and some of the high-end cars still come with separate little ashtrays.
For the Euros.
I guess.
Smoking their Galois.
When I was a kid, I remember I didn't understand the cigarette lighter thing, and I put my thumb against it.
Ah.
Yeah, that was fun.
What's a Galois?
That's a French cigarette.
Okay.
Is that the big long one?
I don't think so. I think it's just a
filter
brand.
on it?
We used to have those at our old bar. All the random European cigarettes that people would pretend to like. God, cigarettes are so gross.
This guy says, my brother's riding lawnmower has a cigarette lighter on it. That's kick-ass.
A lighter on the lawnmower?
Yeah, it's got a cigarette lighter on the lawnmower.
Yes. Is that a John Deere?
I would hope so.
Would Mr. Deere put those on there?
I love that. Hey, you're out doing some yard work, man. You gotta light yourself up a red apple. Let's go.
Can't possibly stop and pull out a lighter from my pocket.
Well, my buddy owns a liquor store, and the state sends in underage people to try to buy cigarettes and booze.
They're still doing that?
Yeah, they still do that. And someone came in the other day, and the person was like 13, by the way. It wasn't like it was like close. And they were all laughing. They were like, no 13-year-old comes in and orders Marlboro Reds. Like, get it right, for heaven's sakes. If you're going to send someone in to try to fool me, don't have a 13-year-old come in and order, unfiltered Marlboros. I don't think so. A 13-year-old doesn't work in the coal mines.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
What would they order? I mean,
probably like American Spirit or something they think is all natural.
well, those are pretty hefty cigarette too, aren't they? American Express. When they smoke like they used to have those like mild ones, like I forget what they call them.
Well, what is it? What is and probably something crappy. What is it, like the Durrells or whatever? The Durrells, like the discount cheap crappy cigarette.
Was it Ultralights?
Ultralights.
That's what they would. That's what they
Cool?
were.
Was Cool one of them?
Oh, Cools, yeah.
Cool's still a thing?
KOOL.
I haven't.
They were minty.
Yeah, I haven't looked at a cigarette in years. But I remember everyone smoked the. I think they were. I don't remember if it was Dorel or Dorals, but they were like the
Dorals.
They were like the cheapest cigarettes ever, and so like that's what any of my friends smoked because it was the only one. It's like what you could afford. It's like no one could get Copenhagen, so you chewed like you couldn't even afford Kodiak, so you chewed Rooster and you smoked Dorals. Yeah, it's just the cheapest form of tobacco possible.
All right.
Oh yeah, cigarette vending machines, absolutely.
Yeah, those
They still have those some places. Like
Yeah.
you can find those at casinos in Vegas and stuff.
I think they look kind of cool.
The cigarette vending machines.
Yeah, I think those are cool. They have the little.
Is that like the
pull tabs?
Yeah, the pull tab ones. It's a different time back then. It's a different time.
Smoking.
Well, now everyone just vapes.
Not everyone. Not this guy.
I don't see a lot of cigarettes.
No.
A lot of vapes, but I don't see a lot of people smoking.
And when you do, aren't you just thoroughly appalled? I am. I look at it like, what?
But I think we've talked about this, and
What the hell?
The one thing I'll say is, and I think you are on board with me. There is the gal. I go in like once a month, and I get my beard trimmed. She kind of shaves it for me and trims it. Otherwise, I'd butcher it. And she has the lady that does it. She has the bar smell, and I find it. I love it.
So she's been boozing.
It's cigarettes, but she's obviously tried to cover it up, and it just kind of has that. Maybe there's been a nip of some gin
Some
or some
booze,
whiskey
yeah.
kind of
And
mixed
some
in there.
perfume.
Some perfume. It's the bar smell. Like you meet. We all know that gal that just always smells like a bar, and I can't help it. I love that
Yeah.
smell of cheap perfume, a little bit of booze, a hint of cigarette.
Yeah.
I love it. Takes me back to the youth, and it's one of the. If you could bottle that and make her perfume out of it, I would buy that for my lady. I love that.
You know she's fun.
Yeah. Right? And it's like there's a little bit of a trash element to it, but you're right. Like
then when she's trimming your beard, is her smoke breath all infiltrating your eyeballs?
It's one of those that
Ugh.
I find myself sitting there sometimes, and I'm like, oh, that smells good.
It's like slightly endearing to you somehow.
Yes, it's not a good smell, but I love it.
Yeah, it's
I love-
reminiscent of something that was once good.
It's hardwired in my brain. It smells like cheap women, and those were some good days. We all had those good days.
Yeah,
Tell
a friend of
me-
mine brought up Export A's. Have you heard of Export A's?
No.
They're a Canadian cigarette. Big with the hipsters.
Yeah.
They like the Export A's,
They
little
like
green
that.
box.
Okay.
Makes them look cool.
I feel, like
That's really all.
I feel like the hipster thing around here was people starting to roll their own cigarettes again.
Yeah.
You know, even though the industries are all doing it for you, they're like, no.
Yeah, you
roll
just
my
buy
own,
the
buy my
tobacco.
That's what we're doing now. We're rolling our own.
It seems like that's the hipster thing to do, at least.
Yeah,
Portland
that's the
thing.
thing.
Oh man.
All right. Well, we've got another mid-air U-turn of a flight.
Rob's not happy about it.
Well, we'll see if you think this flight should have been turned around.
All right, let's go.
Yet another reason. So we'll have that next on The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube, Twitch, and now Window Nation brings you the window into the Fan.
Yes. She's an LPGA golfer.
Hole like H-O-L-E?
H-U-L-L.
Like hull of a ship.
Oh, Hull.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Brett
Brett
Hull.
Hull.
All right.
I don't know if she's any relation. Anyway, I don't know much about her.
She's British, so I'm going to say no.
Yeah, she's out there. There's a video of her going around where she's, we were just talking about cigarette smoking.
Yeah.
She's signing autographs for kids with a dart hanging out of her mouth. She's puffing on it in between signatures.
Are we now having to freak out about this, too? Like,
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if anybody's freaking out.
won't
It's just
someone think of the children?
It's just kind of funny.
I've long said...
And she's kind of hot.
Oh, yeah. Dude, this is a great...
Oh, yeah.
That's a great photo. I've said this a million times. Smoking in sports makes everything better. Anytime you see someone doing an athletic endeavor and they've got a dart dangling, it's just it makes it that much like more fun.
Well, back in the day, you used to see those, like, all the golfers did it. Like, you'd see these guys just in the tee box ripping them, just like people do at your local muni or whatever. And then, like, in the basketball and football games where you'd have guys, like, smoking them at halftime, D-Vox or dudes on the Raiders used to do it all the time.
Yeah. Len Dawson, halftime of the Super Bowl with a Fresca and a lung dart. Sitting there, that's a great one. Yeah, Vladi, though, he was a big smoker. I remember that, like, in the bowels of, like, the Rose Garden. He would come in and he would rip a couple there in the hallway and then head out to the court. Mario Lemieux is a big smoker.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, Lemieux is a chimney, I guess. Which is weird to think about, like, one of the great hockey or, conditioned athletes, and he's smoking.
For me, one of the first live golf tournaments I went to was the PGA Championship at Southern Hills in Tulsa. Won by Nick Price, and I don't remember the year. But that's when I was introduced to the idea that pretty much all those guys smoked.
Yeah.
Well, I say all those guys. Not all of them. But John Daly was big at that time.
Sure.
And he was out there
certainly
smoking.
smokes.
But you'd follow some of the random guys. I remember, like, I can't remember any of their names, but you'd go follow other guys on the course, other middling PGA Tour guys at that time. And my God, half of them would be smoking. And so I've told you this before. Smoking is disgusting to me. I've done it. It's disgusting. It tastes nothing like it smells. I love the smell of cigarette smoke.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, it's a weird...
But it tastes nothing like that.
Yeah.
So it's two totally different things. But whenever I smell it, I associate it with a PGA Tour. I associate it with being outside golfing because of those times.
Yeah.
Because, fans would be smoking too, of course, back then. But it just was such a great smell.
See, it goes to like my cheap bar lady. There's a smell that takes you back to your youth. There's a great photo of Keith Hernandez smoking in the Mets dugout, which I always enjoy. And then like there's ads like back in the day. I think Mickey Mantle.
Oh yeah.
Did ads for cigarettes. I think Joe Frazier. Like you can see like those old, in Time magazine. It's like Mickey Mantle's like, yeah, these menthols give me the calm nerves I need to smack homers. It's just great to think about that.
An airplane was forced to turn around mid-flight. This is in Australia. It was scheduled to be 3 hours and 30 minutes. It was Virgin Australia flying from Perth to Melbourne.
Okay.
Or is it Melbourne? Melbourne?
I always thought it was Melbourne. Yeah.
Melbourne?
Well, now you're getting.
I don't think it's Melbourne. It's Melbourne.
Melbourne.
I think they say Melbourne.
Melbourne.
But then that's one of those things. It's like if you do a TH with a Spanish S, like do you sound like you're trying too hard?
It's like when Swag does anything
I
with
didn't want to say, but yeah.
Swag always flares it up a little bit.
Like
Nicaragua.
I feel like we should say Melbourne, but everyone there says Melbourne.
Dusty does those ads for Victor Rico's and he says tortas.
Tortas.
Just throws in that little extra. It gets me every time. I always enjoy it.
So this time, they had a naked man running down the aisle.
I don't think you can have that. Just dong out, right? Just
apparently he took off all his clothes. They said they don't really know. Nobody really figured out what, like, nobody saw him disrobing.
He just
all of a sudden, because everybody's minding their own
just
business.
appeared naked.
Yeah, he's just like naked running down the aisle, and I guess another passenger tackled him.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, that's what you kind of have to do, right?
Well, yeah, but then at the same time, you're he's naked. I know.
I know.
I don't know.
Listen, I'm leaving it to a passenger such as yourself. But, I mean, if I had to, I'd get in there.
Look, I don't want to.
Let's go.
I don't want to tackle a naked man, but I mean,
sometimes you might have to.
Well, I gotta ask the question: what was he doing? Because just being naked to me is not worth a tackle.
He knocked down a flight attendant. They said, and all they said was he was running down the aisle, knocked down a flight attendant. He was tackled by another passenger, and they instantly turned the plane around.
Really?
Thank you.
How?
Well, it doesn't say. I've been trying to find out.
Rob is all.
That's a key question.
Rob is all about time frame.
That's a key question.
Details matter in investigations.
Yes, it's a 3-hour and 30-minute flight. If you're 20 minutes into the flight and they need to get this guy off the plane, okay, turn around, go back.
Sure.
Okay. But if you're halfway there, not even halfway there, if you're an hour into a 3.5-hour flight, you're taking him off the plane either way.
Yeah.
Now you got to go another hour back and then another 3.5 hours to your destination. Just
good.
go to the destination and get him off there.
Now, as the man who tackled,
I mean, don't get him off,
yeah.
but take him off the plane.
Whoa. That probably calms him down a little bit,
Well, so I don't know how it is in every case, but I think I told you this last week, Isaac. A friend of mine's coworker was on a flight last week where someone pushed a flight attendant, and they freaked out, and they didn't turn it around, but they landed at the nearest airport. They were going from Portland to Albuquerque, and they just landed in Tucson and made everyone get off the plane while they dealt with it, and then they went on to Albuquerque.
Now, why do they have to do that?
I don't
Why
know.
Does everyone have to get off?
I don't know the deboarding thing, but that happens even when you're grounded. This happens where you get some disobedient jackass and they boot him off the plane. Everyone has to get off the plane.
I don't know what that's about.
Is there a fear that I don't understand that. If one guy gets kicked off the plane, why do the rest of us? Why can't we just kick him off? And the moment he's off, we go. I don't get that.
Well, somebody said on this one, they said, well, it could be an attack. He's naked. What?
No, I mean,
what do you think he's going to do?
Maybe he's got something in the prison wallet. I don't know. But that's the thing is once I've restrained him, isn't the threat over? Is there fear of more naked men?
Thank you.
I wouldn't necessarily think that nudity is a cause for turning a plane around.
Yeah, what if he weren't nude? Would that be worse?
Well, I got okay.
He knocked down a flight attendant.
Is that what? So if I stood up in the plane and was like, "Ha ha," and just dropped trow, and was like, "Everybody, check it out." Is that enough? And I just stood there and is like, I'm going to stand here, dong out. Is that enough to turn a plane around? At what and who makes that decision? I'm Jason Sakanik. My penis is very, very important. Everyone
what if you said that?
Yeah, and everyone look at it.
You're making me uncomfortable.
But I'm not doing anything else. I'm just dong out. Do you have to turn that plane around?
I think they probably do because the way these protocols are written, there isn't much decision making.
They take that out of it.
Yes,
they take judgment out of it.
And I get that. I get why. At the same time, common sense needs to prevail in certain situations, like Jason Sakanik taking out his dong on a Delta flight. Who cares?
You got to pay extra for that.
Some people, some people might want to see that.
That's an upgrade fee right there. It's like Spirit Airlines.
I've never seen so much dong in my life. It's a bonus.
Yeah. And someone does point this out, and it is 100% true. There are a few things in life more paralyzing than the unexpected dong in your face. You have to mentally prepare for it. That is a valid point. Like, of all the things that are going to cause, like, a whoa, I do feel like unexpected dong is very, very high. Like, and here's the thing. Like, female nudity, whatever. If you see unexpected female nudity, no one's scared of that. You're just like, whoa, hey, what's happening here? Even if it's bad female nudity, male nudity is an entirely different ballgame. There is something about the penis making an appearance when you're not expecting penis to be there or when penis shouldn't be there. No one knows how to handle it. It's a completely different ballgame.
Isaac, I wonder if you would agree with this person on the text line. They said they think they have the solution. Jail cells on planes. Maybe a hatch in the cargo hold you can just throw dudes into.
You know,
I like where we're
listen,
going with this.
There was a flight. Now, see, this is where I think common sense needs to take over. First of all, that's a great idea. Second, because that I think they just have the threat of that. Some of these people would not act as...
If you say we have a holding cell and
dude,
we're not afraid to put anyone in it.
And by the way, we're not stopping anything for you. You're just going in there. There's no bathroom. F you, and the police will deal with you when we land.
I like
we
this.
bend over to these cowards. But there was a flight I think it was in Europe. We talked about it. There's a photo where the flight attendant flat out duct taped some unruly bro
I do remember
to the
that.
seat.
Yeah,
I
think we did talk about that.
Fantastic.
I think that dude got fired though.
Well, yeah, but
I-
okay,
I-
protocol.
I don't think they like that.
Protocol does not probably allow for that. They don't want the lawsuit, but I think it should.
Yeah, well, again, I go back to the naked guy. So if you tackle the naked guy and he refuses to, like, comply, I mean, what do you do? How do you restrain naked guy? I like where we're going with this, that there
Well,
needs to be some sort of
you're
holding
right.
cell.
Yes, I think that's right. But I think my point is, I don't know how you restrain him, but if you're midway to your destination, you have to restrain him
either way,
no matter which direction you fly.
So what you're saying is
so
this is
just
like
get everybody else to where they want to go. They aren't naked.
Since the restraining's happening anyways,
Yes.
out of necessity, just keep going.
Yes.
Yeah,
Rob is
I get that.
You are now in a mathing of the round up, right?
Correct.
0.4, you round down.
Correct.
0.5 and above, you round up.
Correct.
I like where you're going. It literally comes down to how far along in the flight are we. I like
How much are you going to inconvenience the other people on the flight who did not get naked and run up and down the aisle?
Yes.
Because you got to restrain the guy anyway.
I would like to know. I'm intrigued by the naked guy. How do you?
You give him a blanket.
What is the proper restraint? Because I think the duct tape thing was a really good idea. Because how else can you restrain someone on an airplane?
I would imagine there aren't that many people that truly need to be restrained, like in restraints.
Yeah.
Right? Like the guy's probably housed. You sit him down, you buckle him in, you give him a blanket, and you have a bunch of people watching him.
Yeah.
Right? Standing over him. Or what? Well, I guess they can't be standing, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's probably what you do. I don't know. Do you tase him?
I don't think there's a taser.
Well, if there were, tase his ass.
But like if I tackled
Drug him.
if I tackled someone and the naked dude wasn't calming down, would I then have to lay on the naked guy the entire flight?
I don't think they would allow that.
Then what do we? But I'm like, dude, if I let him up, then he's back to running around being naked.
You know, maybe a flight attendant could text us, but I think maybe somewhere I read there were some restraints. There's some emergency restraints,
zip ties or something
on planes that they could use.
I think that's kind of cool. So like breaking case of naked guy, we zip. Yeah, you just zip tie someone to the seat.
I mean, you raise a good point. It's like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. I mean, I'm. That's a dead serious question because if you have someone that refuses to comply, you're in midair. There's no police. What do? You can't just let that person continue to knock people over, and that's why I think the guy with the duct tape. I thought that was a brilliant idea. Take out some of those life vests and strap his ass down with that. I don't know.
Yeah, this says, do airplanes carry restraints for unruly passengers? Fella.
But I love the idea of the cargo hole thing. We just have one cell and we just push him in there like a medieval dungeon.
What if he had like a trap door?
Yeah, like
Drop him down in
a
there.
Return of the Jedi sort of thing.
Well, then he's gonna go through everybody's.
No,
luggage.
but we shove him down there, but like it's a little holding cell. Just a little I don't know. There's bars and whatnot. Maybe a plexiglass Hannibal Lecter sort of thing. We shove your ass in there.
Would you give up? You know how when you go to the back of a plane and there's bathroom on your left and right?
Yeah.
Would you give up one of those bathrooms to be a holding cell for unruly passengers if it meant
100%.
you're always getting to your destination?
100%.
See, I've never really had anybody unruly on a flight. I've never really
encountered
had
that either.
But you read about it all the time.
Exactly. But at the same time, I've also never really had a shortage of bathrooms on airplanes. I've never had an emergency where I need to use the can and there hasn't been a bathroom available. We're all adults here. We can hold it. Right? It's not that hard. If you do have to go to the bathroom, it's not that long before one becomes available to you. It's the only one. I'm all for it. Especially on the bigger planes, the bigger flights. Absolutely. Holding cell, bathroom, let's go. Because I wonder honestly if that is a thing. Like if you had someone that wouldn't calm down, would an option be locking them in the bathroom?
No, because you have to have a working bathroom, don't you?
Yeah, but there's multiple working bathrooms.
Sometimes. Not all the time.
You
ever flown to Salina, Kansas?
No, I haven't. I just don't know what you do with an unruly passenger that won't stop. Someone said they have shockers to those people whose hearts stop. Can we zap them with that? Use the defibrillator on someone?
They basically what I'm reading here is that flight attendants, it's actually their duty to restrain unruly passengers, but none of this talks about how they do that.
Well, and no offense, but the flights that I've been on recently, they're not restraining me. No offense, but
No, if you were to be unruly, what percentage of flight attendants are going to have a chance of restraining you?
gonna be
1
tough.
to 2%?
Well,
maybe?
that's where I think the other passengers come in.
Sure, but isn't that counting on an awful lot? Like the staff has to be able to handle this on their own, right?
No.
I know that you're expecting it, and I think in almost every situation that's going to happen, but that can't be the company's policy that like, oh, the passengers will help. Like that's not going to be how they solve it.
You know, like when there's a doctor on board, is there a badass on board?
Do we have a bouncer on board?
Is there someone there that can inflict great bodily harm? We're looking for some sort of ruffian, possibly someone with gang experience, something. What have we got here? We got Dong up here, and it's not going away. We need to deal with this, and we need to deal with this stat.
Didn't they use it? What do they call the air, like the undercover cops?
Air marshals.
Air marshals?
Yeah.
Is that still a thing?
I thought there was something there had to be one on every flight or something,
I
but
don't
that can't
know.
be the case
I think
anymore.
that was like
I always felt that was not real.
I'm convinced that air marshals are like when you were a kid and they told you they put a chemical in the pool that if you peed it turned it like green. One, I've peed in a million pools. I've never had that happen. I've never seen it happen. I think it's just a warning to scare you up. I believe air marshals are the same thing. I've never once heard of one of these things happening and an air marshal being there to put a stop to it. I think they're just
That'd be
there.
a great job. You just fly all over the place. Every once in a while, a naked guy, you got to
Yeah.
tackle him. And
I think after 9/11 they tried to tell us that air marshals were a thing, and I don't believe it. I think they're made up. It's like Space Force. You know
I
anyone
never
that's
saw one.
You know anyone that's in Space Force? Exactly.
Is that still a thing?
I don't. Here's my point. I don't know.
Space Force.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Air marshals.
Boy, I'm reading a. God, I don't know. I don't know.
No one knows.
Don't you think they should have some sort of restraint device?
I would think. Honestly, I think
Perhaps
it would.
torture device.
Or maybe they do and don't want to tell you?
Yeah, that's probably it. I guarantee that's it.
I think it should be mandatory because again, I bring up the point. If you get someone, especially a bigger male, and you can't calm them down, what the hell are you supposed to do? You can't even if you get a bunch of passengers, let's say you get 4 guys and they jump on the guy. You're going to ask them to just sit there and hold him down while he continues to fight for hours? You can't.
That's not their job.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's unrealistic. You have to find a way to restrain someone.
It says there is no industry standard restraint equipment. It is up to the airline to consider what they install, if anything.
Yeah, that seems like there's a plot hole missing in this story.
So it sounds like
Seems like a business opportunity for us.
Yeah. It differs. The equipment differs based on the airline. Spirit, they just hand you a couple drinks.
Exactly.
Charge you $20.
There you go. Well, what about net guns? Because I have long said
there you go.
I want more net guns in my life.
There aren't enough of those out there.
No, and you can only use them one time. If net guns were a thing and they were cheap, someone in my family would be getting net gunned every single day. And I saw recently, I don't remember what it was, but there was some news story about police and spending money. They have new ones now where it's a gun, but it just shoots a rope out and it ties the person up.
Sweet.
And they look freaking awesome. They look freaking awesome. And I'm like, where are these and where do I get them? Maybe something like that. Naked guy comes running and we just shoot his ass with a net gun or one of those bolo ties. Just wraps around his knees and down he goes.
So there's a flight attendant in Europe who's interviewed in this story that I'm reading here that says that there are onboard restraint kits, including handcuffs and long, wide straps.
Kinky.
They strap you down like a piano.
Right. All right. Well, I was going to say there had to be something.
And she said not cable ties or duct tape, but Frontier Airlines has duct tape. And one of the flight attendants interviewed for Frontier said, yeah, we have duct tape. You're not supposed to use it unless, obviously it's last resort, but that's what they give them.
So there
Duct
is
tape.
on Frontier.
Yeah.
The budget airlines, if it gets hairy,
it's duct tape.
Duct tape.
Yep. That's what it is.
Gosh.
Isn't that crazy?
Yet another reason to not fly Frontier. Hey, if I freak out, I want to know that I'm going to be properly restrained, not with duct tape.
Fascinating. All right, well, yet another midair U-turn that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah. Although, you know what? I can't fault anyone. Again, when Dong's involved, I think it's hard to make rational decisions. All bets are off.
All right, one less cop in San Diego. That's next. Here's Buck.
Would I have to lay on the naked guy the entire flight?
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this Sports Center update. First on the Fan, Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals in the NBA going on right now. The Dallas Mavericks looking for the sweep. They were down by double digits early, but now have rallied to make it a tie game with just seconds ticking down before the half. Meanwhile, in hockey, we have a tie game in the second period between the Rangers and Panthers Game 4. The Panthers looking to even that series at 2 games apiece. In college baseball, the regions are set as the road to Omaha begins. Oregon State hosting a regional as the 15th national seed. They'll be the 1 seed in their region taking on 4 seed Tulane. Meanwhile, the Oregon Ducks also making the field of 64. They will fly south for the Santa Barbara region as the 3 seed, where they will take on the University of San Diego. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now, Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's window into 1080 The Fan.
Suk here for Crunch Fitness. Get fit in time for summer with memberships
you, and you know.
That's true.
Look, I think when you play that card, like,
she's like, oh my God, it worked.
Yeah, I'll bet you.
Now I got to do the guy.
Well, I'm wearing my Portland Police hat right now from my buddy. I'm willing to guess that offer gets made
frequently.
All the time.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
and what percentage of the time do you think it gets?
Not
it gets,
that
consummated.
I think very rarely.
Considered a lot.
Considered.
You think
yes.
so?
But I think in today's
Hell yeah.
world of GPS, body cams, all that,
Yeah, they can't.
I'm guessing it's back in the day. I'll bet you that happened a lot.
All the time.
All the time. I think this is.
It was probably acceptable practice.
Well, it was also probably practice that was your word against theirs. Like he
Yeah.
said, she said. Without the video evidence or the audio evidence, it's the cop's word, and no one's going against that.
Yeah, now all these rules keeping them honest.
Yeah, you can't. You know. What sort of world are we living in when a safety officer can't go in the back and get a little nookie on the job?
Watchdogs over the Metropolitan.
What are the troops even fighting for at this point? This is ridiculous. And you're right. She's a little rough.
Yeah.
But
If she
again,
were a 10,
well, yeah, maybe at that, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe the guy that came to get him out of the car was like, seriously,
like
this. Yeah. If it's like an absolute smoke show, the guy's like, all right, man. Like,
look, I get it.
yeah, don't.
But
do
you're
it.
in a lot of trouble.
Don't do this again. That's a little rough. It's rough. It was to what? You never know. You know, it's 2:30 in the morning. Maybe it's been a while. I don't know. Maybe the wife's been giving him a hard time about him working nights. I don't know what his situation is. I'm not here to judge. Officer Anthony Hare.
Yeah, that's his
What
name.
a name, by the way.
Anthony
Officer Hare.
And he has no hair. He's
He has
bald.
no hair. He's bald. Looks like he's maybe
Spelled hair like rabbit, though, right?
maybe an Asian guy, half Asian.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Does that keep you from getting a job in other police departments?
That's a good question. Because I think certain police departments need cops so bad, particularly ones with experience.
Yeah. I feel like he will
They're like,
be,
hey, what did you learn about that?
I feel like he'll be policing again, and you know, it's like
Yeah, he'll
of
sit
all
down.
of all the crimes that you could commit as a cop, is that really the worst?
Hey, Chief, I exercised some bad judgment. Give me another
Right.
chance.
Yeah, it's like what they sit you down for the interview, and they're like, well,
I didn't
what,
shoot anybody.
What did you learn from that incident? Well, I learned to leave the door cracked.
Yeah, that's
You're hired. Smart man.
Do the deed outside the vehicle.
safety locks. Well, I guess could you keep your key? I don't know. Like, and it's surprising there's not a way for him to, like, on his bat utility belt. It's problematic. Maybe the tailgate is involved next time. It was like an Explorer. It looks like.
Yeah. Well,
And by the way, those seats, that's not comfortable. No, they're those hard plastic
Yep.
seats.
and
that
it's
big
small
ri-
in there.
Yeah, that's no good.
I don't even think you can. I mean, it's like an airplane bathroom kind
Yeah,
of.
That's no good. He's got to be smarter than that. In a lot of different ways.
Perv. All right, we'll wrap it up next on The Fan.
It's back, and it's sure to sell out